when we break this down, you have an explosive day, which starts with the gah work. And then after that movement, you have the raw work. And then the puff, puff, puff work. It's part of the horse cocking method.
For sure. If you have no focus, you have to come to a conclusion at some point. Otherwise, it's a waste of gym time. Because if you're not going to one-up something, then it's 2 steps backwards.
It's time to sit down, keep it real, and cut the bullshit. Welcome to Table Talk. All right, guys, we're back with another episode of Table Talk. My guest today, again, is Eric Bugenhagen.
Bugenhagen.
Yep. Really no introduction needed, right? So we'll just kind of jump into this thing. We have crew members, that support the podcast, and we asked them to submit some of their questions. So we're going to front end some of these questions for the crew members. Guys, if you're not part of the crew, it's where you can get ad-free podcasts. You get extra crewcast each month. We have close to 40 eBooks on the Discord, webinars, programs, form checks, and community, and it helps to support the podcast. So we're going to jump in with these, then we're going to get to some of the topics that I have, which can't wait to get to some of those. All right, so the first question is biggest rivals from wrestling for the Badgers. What other conferences missing that the Big Ten has kept them? It's kind of weird because the Big Ten's changed so much. So just the biggest rivalries.
Iowa.
Yeah.
Minnesota. Those are them really. I mean, Penn State became a powerhouse, but like back in my day.
Well, it's changed a lot, right? Because the Big Ten back then was what, 10?
Yeah, I believe. Yeah. Now they added. They added Nebraska. Towards like the end of my tenure there. But yeah, I mean, Iowa was always the big one.
Yeah.
That was always because they were. Here's the interesting thing about wrestling is it's a very boring sport for people that don't know it to watch. But when you know it, what you're watching and all that, it's great. But like it's an individual sport, but obviously dual meets are a team aspect of it. So it's like Iowa could be just dominating at NCAAs, but the actual dual meet itself, like it's always up in the air.
It's a good point though, because if you know wrestling, then what to the outsider may look like the most boring match to watch is actually the most strategic match.
Oh, absolutely.
Being played out. It's like you're seeing chess being played. Where the more aggressive stuff that people would love. For sure. You're kind of like, it's very whatever.
Like Like high school wrestling is more entertaining to watch than college because it's just so like elementary, just pushing at each other. One guy will just lat drop. You know what I'm saying? It's like Vision Quest, the movie, like shoot. I always thought that movie was hilarious because that was like never how you have these two guys that were supposedly the best of the state. It's just every time they would just lock up, it would just be like a hip toss, like a lat drop, just back and forth. It's like that never at the highest level. It's just hand fighting for, you know what I mean?
There was a wrestling movie. Oh man, I don't know what it was called, Tate or something but the whole movie was kind of about mastering one move, and I think it was called in Oklahoma. So basically, it's a headlock, and then through. I mastered that and just smoked everybody with that, right?
We had a guy on our team like that too. It was like the Peterson roll was his like go-to. Like he was just like just a ball of mass, and he wasn't very good on his feet or anything. But when he was on the bottom, he'd just lock up and just roll. And people were like, how did I lose to this guy? He's kind of a shitbag. But he had that one move.
This one move.
You would either get it or you wouldn't.
That's
if you
right.
didn't get it, he would lose. But if you got it, he would pin the guy.
All right. The next question is, being a part of wrestling, YouTube, Instagram, personality influencer, how do you curate and maintain a positive attitude throughout all that?
I mean, how would I not maintain a positive attitude through all that? I just do what I love to do. I just hoist heavy steel. I get to come to this Elite FTS compound, and the first thing I asked Dave is, what do you got going on today? Because I want to hit some arms. I remember being on T Nation, seeing an article of him. I don't know if it was an article. I don't know what the hell it was. The internet was different back then. YouTube was just like random clips. And they would get like 500,000 views of these croc rows. You know what I'm saying? Now it's just this over-fabricated cinematic masterpiece.
I think it was an exercise index for most people.
Okay,
so like Meadows was putting stuff out because it was in his programs.
That's probably what it was, But I remember seeing Dave just doing like grenade ball chain curls or something. And I was just laughing with him because it's like, I don't remember much from 15 years ago or whatever, but I do remember that.
The chain curls.
I'll never forget that.
15-second video.
You left, yeah, I left a everlasting scar in my brain that I must become this one day.
Yeah, we spoke about the secrets of that, but we'll share.
Yeah.
Right. Well, because that's top secret meathead information
I can't wait
on how that works. The next question is, Alex Bromley is referred to you as the id of lifting. So we're getting into psychology of, id, ego, super ego.
Is that what I am? I'm the super ego?
Well, no, it would be the id, right? Because the id is the raw instructional desire for strength.
Okay.
Right? Where the ego would be more of a rational side.
Oh,
that's kind of planning things out, moderated
yeah.
intensity, realistic goals. The super ego would be like the shit that you make fun of.
Yeah.
The moral and ethical considerations of everything like that.
Okay.
And some might see that as a criticism, but I think we all see this as a positive.
The raw and the passion? Absolutely, man. I think that's the most important aspect of anything you do. I think it's like with sports too. You can have the most gifted, talented person, but the person that has just the freaking gritty, raw, never dying enthusiasm is eventually going to surpass that other person because they just freaking love it and they're enthusiastic. Yeah. And that's why when I go to the gym, I only do what I'm enthusiastic about. And like the program, there's no programming. I kind of just will move. I'll just kind of just get some blood flowing. And I'm like, what do I want to do? And I think it's just like the bank. You know what I mean? This is all just compounding steel and intensity over time.
Current.
Like that's gonna freaking beat out this, 6 sets of this and 4 sets of that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, who gives a shit about that? Like, that's not a sustainable approach, in my opinion. Some people thrive off of that, I guess. But for the most part, just have fun doing it and just freaking just bring intensity to it.
So I GPT'd the id was lifting, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so what my reply was, this is the primal instinctual part of our psyche, driven by our most basic needs and desires. The id operates on the pleasure principle, seeking immediate gratification without concern for consequences. In the context of lifting, the id might represent the raw drive for things like strength, dominance, and physical prowess.
Oh, geez.
Motivations that push someone towards personal records or aggressive training goals without regard for potential overtraining or injury.
I've never heard the id before, but that sounds perfect.
Yeah, so you are the id of strength and conditioning 100%.
Yeah, that sounds like that's
so there's your new shirt.
Day-to-day,
yes. All right, so the next topic I want to ask you about, because it's coming up this Friday, Mike Tyson, Jake Paul.
Oh, geez, Mike Tyson.
Why?
Why?
I know, I come from the same thing, but
his neck?
Age, his neck, he's 58.
Yeah, I know. But still, I want to believe. You see the training footage or whatever, he's just moving like a gazelle, but with the ferocity of a freaking tiger.
What's amazing to me is what was it, like just a decade ago? He was like 360 pounds.
Oh yeah, playing with
coked
birds
out of his
stuff.
mind, playing just all fucked up.
Pigeons.
Yeah, so I'm watching because Netflix has a lead-in series.
Yeah,
they're like 3 episodes, and so I think the last one was yesterday. So I'm watching this, and I'm thinking this motherfucker's like 2 years older than I am.
Yeah,
doing Arsenal or bike sprints.
Yeah,
sweating like a motherfucker, training 8 hours a day. I felt like a puss. In a big way. Like,
in a good way.
In a good way. I'm like, I got to do a little bit more than walk fucking 5,000 steps a day.
Yeah.
This fucking guy is getting after it. But I don't know. I'm interested to see, because you got to think of the draw this thing's going to have, because you have him at 58. So he's pulling all the people that saw him in his prime.
For sure.
I remember watching these fights in college live. And so he's got all them, and then you got Jake, which is bringing in a whole younger generation. This is going to be fucking huge.
Yeah. I just hope it's not rigged.
Yeah, I don't know.
A lot of these fights, that's just...
That's to be seen.
Yeah.
But let's assume it's not rigged.
Yeah.
And it's just full out battle.
What if it's not rigged, and then what if Tyson just murders him?
You think he's got the power to
I don't
do
know.
that?
I mean, I think when you have it, do you ever truly lose it? Maybe your timing is not quite as sharp as it was when you're young. But like I can speak from experience right now. Like when I wrestled in college, I stuck around for a couple years and I coached, and then I like just in my strength conditioning stuff. When I had moved to Milwaukee, so there was no like Division I program there. But when I went to like this like Division III program just to kind of like mess around for a day or whatever, this was years after I graduated, probably 4 or 5 years after I graduated. I felt like I didn't lose anything. I felt better because I was just more time to just keep getting stronger. Old man grip strength just keeps getting, as long as you're hoisting heavy ass steel year after year after year, I feel like this is just always going to keep getting better. Anytime I've ever, just shook the hand of someone that even once was a lifting enthusiast or whatever, it feels like their hands never lose it.
Yeah, it's like meat.
Yeah, exactly. Like everything else might like atrophy to an extent with age, but the forearm and the hand, it's like that doesn't go anywhere. So I just feel like especially when you're that level, like you might take a couple steps back, but he's on top of the world. Like I don't think you lose that much.
What do you think he loses if he? What do you think happens if he does lose?
I think it's rigged then. Not to sound like a hater, but I do think it's rigged. I don't really watch all the Jake Paul fights and stuff like that. But how's he beaten is he that good? And if he is that good, why doesn't he actually? But then people will say, well, he makes a lot of money on his own, doing his own fights or whatever. But why? Wouldn't you just want to prove to people like, hey, I'm just going to go win a world championship then or whatever in like a real federation?
I think that he may have him on reach. But I don't think that matters with Tyson because every destruction he ever does is in close. Yeah. And, when we think back on that, we're thinking of these brutal fucking knockouts of where he came out. But if you look towards his last fights where he kind of sucked because he didn't train or do anything.
Well, of course,
he wasn't lifting heavy.
But I think the thing with like combat sports is like, as long as you have the conditioning, I think that's the most important thing because you could be, freaking Herculean strong and a technical wizard, but if you're gassed, you're gassed. Yeah. And then the strength goes out the window, and the technique goes out the window because your timing's all off because you're gassed. And I saw that. I mean, wrestling's such a great sport because it's the most gentleman-like of the combat sports or whatever. So like, just my time and it helps me really appreciate all these things. But like, I've been on both ends of the spectrum where I've wrestled guys because I bumped up to heavyweight, but I also cut 40 pounds from 184 or whatever down to 184, which is funny because I'm like 280 pounds now, but I wrestle at 180. But so I've wrestled. I've beaten a national champion. I've beaten All-Americans, but then I've also lost to nobodies, and especially when I was cutting a lot of weight. Because when you're cutting a lot of weight, you're like dehydrated and like you might feel okay, but after 30 seconds, you just have nothing. And when you have nothing, it doesn't matter. You could be.
Does it inhibit your instincts too?
Yeah, because you're just trying not to die at that point. You have lead in your feet. Your legs feel like they're 1,000 pounds each. So you're not gonna, unless you're that much better than someone. Yeah. But so I think the most important thing, like you're saying, is doing the wind sprints on the freaking whatever
assault bike.
Yeah. If he's doing that, he'll be good.
Yeah. He was doing 5 rounds or whatever.
That's like the ultimate conditioning tool.
Yeah, it sucks.
Yeah.
It's fucking terrible. Now, with your own training, I've taken some time, right?
Yeah,
so if we're going to call this, what do you call this? The horsecock method?
Yeah, I think it's horsecocking.
So if we call it horsecock method, right? And go ahead and pull up his Instagram real quick. I think I've kind of broke the code on your training to where this here.
You broke the code. Yeah, I want to hear it.
All right, so listen. Okay, so that right there is the gua.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. So that's the gua exercise, right? So in conjugate, that would be your explosive movement.
Oh, yeah.
There's several exercises that you have, which are gua.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Now go to the next one. Now that's the max effort movement. Right?
Yeah.
Right. So you have those timed throughout. So now we have the gah.
Yeah.
And then the
Yeah.
Right. Now go to the next one. Now for your heavy supplemental work.
Right. rifle. Awesome song.
This is raw,
Yeah.
raw,
Yeah.
raw, right? So these are like the 3 to 5s. It's raw,
Yeah.
right? It's not gah and it's not
Yeah.
It's different, right? Now go to the next one. Now this here,
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
right? That's the accessory work,
Yeah.
right? And then the very last one is. Now you got to go back. So this is like yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, right? So when we break this down, you have an explosive day,
Yeah.
which starts with the gah work. And then after that movement, you have the raw work.
Yeah.
And then the puff, puff, puff work.
Yeah.
Then on the other day, you have the warm up, then you have the work, then the raw work again, and then the puff, puff,
That's
puff
a great
work.
way to look at it.
Right?
It's all vocal.
Yeah, well, it is vocal,
Yeah,
right? So it's
yeah.
the core. It's part of the horse cocking method,
For
right?
sure, yeah.
Is it's based upon sounds,
Yeah.
and the effort of those sounds, right? A few months ago, I started drinking AG1 in the morning because I got tired of juggling supplement bottles, and to be honest, it didn't taste like grass either. Daylight savings time was just last week, and I normally struggle and have a hard time with that, just getting my brain to operate right in the morning. AG1 helped me breeze through this by supporting my energy levels, helping my sleep quality, boosting my immune function, and stress adaptation. The way I personally do this is I wake up, put 1 scoop in water, and just slam it down. This gives me peace of mind knowing that I'm starting my day with 75 high quality ingredients, including vitamins, minerals, and probiotics, making it simple to prioritize my health. It's not just me. 2 of my staff members and my wife have found that AG1 has had noticeable benefits like sustained energy, better focus, confidence, and supporting our overall health. When it comes to my health, I want something that I can trust. That's why I choose AG1 with science-backed ingredients and real benefits I can feel. AG1 makes it easy to support overall wellness every day. And that's why I've been partnering with AG1 for so long. Today's episode is sponsored by AG1, and right now they are offering new subscribers a free $76 gift when you sign up. You get a welcome kit, a bottle of D3, K2, and 5 free travel packs in your first box. So make sure to check out drinkag1.com/Dave Tate to get this offer. Again, that's drinkag1.com/Dave Tate.
Yeah.
So when you break it down like that, now what I wasn't able to figure out is the movements that fall in each one of these. I gotta go to my notes here at the bottom, to where it seemed like the blueprint.
Yeah.
Like
Oh,
it's
yeah.
been
You're figuring it out
exposed.
for me. I think you asked me about this in the last one.
Yeah, the template has been exposed. So then how do the movements rotate?
Well, I guess that's probably instinctual then, huh? Because I only do kind of what I'm enthusiastic about that day. But I guess when you've been training long enough, you know when you don't have the raw versus the gua.
So so they all so do they all start off as like the puff movements, and then as you work up, you determine if it's going to end up being the ah or the ga?
Yeah, unless sometimes I'll go and I'll just have the eye of the tiger. I'll know exactly what I want.
Yeah. And that's going to always end up being the ah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Right? the habit.
The id summarized it perfectly.
Yeah.
Instant gratification of raw, pure intensity or whatever.
Yes.
Yeah.
But when we take it to that vocal level,
yeah,
we're able to actually figure this all out.
That's pretty funny. I never thought about the vocal
Yeah.
side of it, but I will say that.
So it's like daily undulating periodization based upon effort of sound.
Yeah, that's dude, it's crazy that you broke it down to that degree, because I will say there are times when I'm not getting the sounds out and like, damn, just like this the other day, I was just, so I had Juji Mufu over at my just humid as hell garage for a few days, and we were, he was there, so we had to make the most out of it. We're in the garage for like 5 hours a day, just, doing all the raw. So once the day he was gone, the next day he was gone, my hands just felt raw. Just, you know what I'm saying? Like that. It was just hard to close them. Just spent. So I go to the gym, but of course I always got to do something. You know what I mean? And depending on how the warm-ups go, I'll change it from there. But like I was just doing the clean and the press just to mess around with that. Like I like doing that. I like doing it with no technique either.
Mm-hmm.
You know
I saw that.
I feel like once you start getting technical with it, it loses the fun, first of all, but then it also loses just the raw horsecockery. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
And I don't say this in an offensive way at all, because I know people like, look, low carb, and all these guys that are just freaks and cleaning and pressing, 500 pounds or whatever. But I'm talking about for the common Joe. I've been in a lot of gyms for years and years where people are working out like Olympic weightlifting and stuff, and they'll never, it's just like a 25 or something on each side. It's just all like, taking a big break, because obviously once you start to get fatigued, then your technique can't be perfect. Yeah. So I want to do the opposite of that. And I feel like I love looking at the way high school kids train. Now, don't get this wrong. I'm not talking about the people that are like at the commercial gym, just bench pressing every day and I'm talking about the high school athletes, because they have the raw passion to get better, because it's like for football, for instance, and they have the coach screaming at them or whatever, you know what I mean? Because they have to get better. They have to get stronger. I say high school, but also it could be the same thing for college too. When you go to a normal gym, for the most part, these people are there just because they want to, look better, maybe get a little stronger. But like a college or high school weight room, it's like they have to get bigger and stronger. So if their coach tells them, like my high school coach, who was also the football coach, I'm talking about my high school coach for wrestling, who was also the football coach, he was saying to gain weight when he was a kid, he would put like Chips Ahoy or something in a blender and just with milk, and he would just blend up like Chips Ahoy and milk or something. Yeah, it's not stupid, but you're like, well, that's what he did to get. I have to do this. You know what I'm saying? You have to do it. Like it seems the shit's stupid. Like, hey, eat 5 peanut butter and jellies and all this whatever, but you have to do it because you can't let your team down. Yeah. So like, what they're doing in the weight room, it's not like technical. It's not like the form obviously sucks for the most part, but it's like training with like desire,
intensity and desire.
Exactly.
Yes. So the video I saw of you doing the cleans with the tsunami bar with right? So there's 3 misses before success, right? So why repeat after missing it 3 times? And how many times would you have kept going until you got it?
I would have kept it because it didn't feel dangerous. So like if something feels sketchy, like for instance, you're benching or something and something's not feeling quite right, I think you'd be a fool to keep trying. But for that, like with the tsunami bar too, do you have a tsunami bar?
A bunch of
great. But they don't like rotate at all. So it's like for cleaning the tsunami bar, you just really have to pull that sucker up high, because you gotta like reverse curl it to get under it. You can't like spin the bar to get under it. Yeah. So every time like the 3 misses, it was like here. I just couldn't get on. And that's where it's just like, okay, we just need more vocalization. You know what I mean? It's a couple things, couple more percent power. How do you get that? It's in there. So you just got to get it out.
You're doing it as a ga thing when it needed to be an ah thing.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. It's just, I know there's got to be, I bet there's like real experts on this with like the power of like your diaphragm and making noise. You know what I mean? And it's kind of funny. Like I'm like everyone else. When somebody's at the gym, they're like, ah! Or something, and you're like, what the fuck, man? Like, you're like, everyone kind of looks up like, what the fuck? But then at the same time, I have to take a step back and respect it. Now, I don't know if they're coming with the 110%, like, or if they're just trying to make noise for people to see them. But like I was saying, I've had so many times where I'm like going for something and it's like, it's almost there. So it's like, okay, I'm sorry, everyone, but I got to just fucking let it out.
Yeah, you got to be louder.
Yeah. And that's why I tell my wife all the time, I'm like, everyone here probably thinks I'm such a douche. But I can't, it's not trying to make noise. But like before I do a lift or something too, like you gotta get in the flow. I gotta get the music right. I don't know. I'm very sensory, like sensitive. Like the music's got to fucking click in. Something's got to build up to it. But as it is, if I don't go like, you know what I'm saying? Like get that going too. It's just.
I'm more concerned with what your neighbors think.
Yeah.
Because this is happening in your garage by yourself all the time.
Yeah. They don't ever tell me what they really think. Yeah. They try to ignore it's happening. Like I've had I'm serious. My wife's told me before, this is like during like when I was maxing out a deadlift and I probably failing a bunch of times to keep trying. But like she was having a conversation with the neighbor, like this sweet old lady. And like, oh yeah, it's great. And she was telling me all about this. And in the back's just like me, like, like singing, like manic, you know, like just screaming at myself. And the singing. So it's beautiful. It's ugly and it's beautiful at the same time. Mm-hmm. It's and they're both pretending it's not happening. Right. You know? So
that brings me to your reaction videos in front of the TV. Yeah. Right. Some of these will start with, you know, my wife's going to be home in say 20 minutes. And the video goes for 40 minutes. Right. And so I'm just wondering,
trying to beat the clock,
what she thinks when she walks in and you're screaming at the TV.
Oh, she's totally used to it by now. She gets it. Yeah. Yeah. I'm a nice guy, but I'm a maniac. You know what I'm saying? I'm kind of insane with certain things, but she knows I'm sweet. Yeah. You know what I mean? I'm just very intense. And she'll tell me, she's like, wait, too intense. Because sometimes when we're talking, you know what I'm saying? It comes up the same way as like on the reaction videos and stuff too. Usually it's involved with tons of coffee and pre-workout though. But that's like, you know, that's systematic. You know what I mean? Like, so on the drive here, this is funny. I'm glad now that I have another cup of coffee and I have some pre-workout too. Just because, like, if we're gonna talk, man, I want to be at my A game. Yeah. I don't want to be lethargic. So I was driving here. Where do we even start? I flew into Cincinnati because I wanted to work out at a gym. So I got in early yesterday because I just love lifting, man. I just love lifting. This will tell you how much I love lifting. I was at a gym. I went to a gym called Power Station. It's funny. I saw it on Elite FTS. It's like top gyms in Ohio. I was like, fly, Power Station. I've never been there. Plus, Power Station is like an 80s, like, get it on, bang it, go, get it on. You know what I'm saying? So I wonder if they're related. You know what I'm saying? That's yeah. That's Power Station. Yeah. So like old school vibes, old school music. I got to go to this gym. And it was great. And they had so much. They had like Elite FTS stuff. Yeah, you've been there? Yeah. Yeah, of course you have. I'm sure you like
all kinds of shit in there.
Yeah. So I was there for like almost 4 hours. And I always hit a point. Like when I'm at a new gym and I'm there for so long, I was like, what am I even doing? You know what I'm saying? Because they had like the bar, they had this bar, you know, the bar that
spring bar.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. What do you think of that, by the way? Dude, I felt like it was going to fuck me up.
It's good for a pump afterwards. Okay. That's about where I'll leave.
Because I would unrack, like, oh my God. And I would have like a twinge in my shoulder. I'm like, okay, I think I'm starting to figure this out. So I did that, and I did the cambered bar, and then I did like the dumbbells, and I did like this neutral grip pressing bar, and then I did like farmer's walks, and I messed around with all the machines, and I was just spent. So then afterwards, like, I got to get food. I got to go to a grocery store. And at the grocery store, it's a fucking grocery store, man. Like, what's it? Kroger, yeah. They have like fitness section. I'm like, well, I gotta check out the fitness section. And they got all this bullshit, like, you know, ladies grippers and stuff. And I always look at these things. I'm always like, could I use this? And I've bought it before. Like I've gone to like Marshall's before, just for like right next to my daughter's gymnastics. I'm like, I don't know, I'll just go to Marshall's and kill some time. And I'll see like a ladies gripper. And I'm like, dude, I could probably use that. Everything's a tool. I can use this. What would you need a ladies gripper for? Well, I'm thinking, if I'm driving my car, what a perfect moment to hit like 1,000 reps of gripper. You know what I'm saying? There's always something to be done. And I think it's funny because people are always looking for the perfect program. This is something that drives me wild. Like, perfect program. Most effective exercises. Who gives a shit, man? You know what I mean? Like, is the ladies gripper for 1,000 reps the perfect program? No, you just do stuff like, just do it all. Yeah. And then find what you like doing. and then see if it works for you. Like 1,000 reps with a ladies gripper, is that going to do anything? Probably not, but I don't know until I try it.
Yeah.
You
well, you got to go in thinking it's going to do something.
Of course.
Like, so with 1,000 reps, what do you think that would do?
Density.
Density?
Yeah.
Density of what?
Freaking forearm tendons.
Yes.
You know?
Density of
and you can say, well,
forearm
it's not going to build any strength. It's 1,000 reps. Yeah, but then when I go to the gym and I'm doing all the shit with the dumbbells and the barbells and stuff, like, you think these hands are ever going to fatigue? They're used to 1,000 reps on a lady's gripper.
Unless they're fatigued when you go in.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
You can't do shit about it, right?
Yeah.
When did you start using the tsunami bar? Because that seems to be being used.
Oh, man. So I got a bamboo bar. Well, first, man, I don't even know where to begin. That's a great question, but we didn't finish the power station story.
Yeah, power station story. Yeah.
So power station just freaking wiped out. So I'm at Kroger looking at ladies grippers. I'm like, well, frick, man, I got this podcast tomorrow.
Did you get food? Or did you get sidetracked entirely by this fitness session?
I was at this grocery store for hours. But yeah, I got some bagels and some chips.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
So bagels, chips, grocery store.
What are we even talking about?
Yeah,
oh yeah. So I also got instant coffee because they're all tools, like weapons that are gonna have an objective. I'm not gonna have some hotel coffee. I'm not gonna go to Starbucks and get a coffee. I'm gonna make my own 15 scoops of instant. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like tailor made to me. But I didn't want to get. There was the instant, but then there's also this instant coffee with mushrooms in it, turkey tail and lion's mane.
Turkey tail. Okay.
I'm like, okay, maybe that's gonna open up my mind for this podcast. It's really gonna get this conversation flowing.
Hey guys, if you're enjoying what you're watching, make sure to take a moment to like, comment, and subscribe.
So I dumped like 15 servings in my shaker bottle. Man, I was just so tired driving here. That shit sucked. The turkey tail will do nothing for you.
Well, I'm wondering if it's more of a relaxant.
Maybe. I don't know. I'll tell you, I've had like 15 scoops of instant and you feel like you're on top of the world. But this, like, I don't know. It was like 6 mushrooms in there. They don't do jack.
So it neutralized the caffeine.
I think so. I think it's for like maybe feel good. But I don't want to feel good. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I want to be fired the hell up. So then I got here and I got some pre-workout and then I got another cup of coffee.
And so now it's pulling back up.
Now I think now I'm starting to feel just right.
Starting to get.
Yeah. Now the turkey tail took me down here, but now we're getting back up.
And turkey tail.
So then the tsunami bar. See how sharp my mind is now with the turkey tail and all that working? So the tsunami bar. So that probably they reached out to me if I was interested in a bar. I'm like, hell yeah. But why did they reach out to me? Well, they probably reached out to me because I've probably seen this from you back in the day. T-Nation, everything I learned was from T-Nation back in 2010. But I would do a lot of stuff with the barbell, and I would just hang weights on the bands. You know, like how they do with the bamboo bar, but they're doing all the kettlebells for some reason. Kettlebells. Let's hang some 45s or something.
Yeah.
And I would do that from time to time. And when I would train people too, I would have them do it. Like, whoa! You know what I mean? So it's just like really exposes some people's weaknesses. And I'm like, if some people are this, you know what I mean, shaky with like a 25 hanging from each side, I was like, clearly this is good in some way. So I'd just keep doing that kind of stuff. And then eventually I got a bamboo bar, but I didn't like the bamboo bar, not to knock them, but I couldn't put as much weight on it. It's like you got to hang with the kettlebells and stuff. Give me a steel iron bar that I can hang 45-pound plates with. So eventually then the tsunami bar, those people are great. And they asked me if you want one. I'm like, hell yeah, I want one. I want the heaviest, dudiest one that I can load up with, really get the gua movements with. So listen, I'm just really unveiling its true potential right now. Like the clean and press, I didn't start doing that till like a week ago.
Well, that's a different one because as you said, it doesn't rotate, right? So it takes a little getting used to that.
Yeah.
But the press, you started with the pulls.
I started with benching, of course. Benching as everyone would. Yeah.
Well, that may have changed now. I think the deadlift has become more popular.
Okay. Yeah, for the deadlift, it's funny because people are like, oh my God, it's like ultimate like deadlift bar with the whip, like a 2-inch rack pull turns into, but it's like not quite, brother, because with a 2-inch rack pull, you know, you're like squatting it up. With this one, you actually have to get all the way down. And like I'm a gripper and ripper, you know, so I'm not gonna pull the slack out of the tsunami bar. I'm gonna grip and rip the tsunami bar.
Yeah.
And as easy as you think it is, I swear, dude, I like severed my discs in my back a couple times doing that.
Oh, because it catches up.
It catches so hard.
It catches hard, yeah.
So you give it a couple weeks, like, all right, my back's feeling better. Let's try it again. Shrugging it, right? Because, it really just pulls your traps down.
Yeah.
So it's great. I don't know why more people don't do this.
Well, the benching with it's fun, too, because if you can get the rhythm.
Like pressing,
you get the rhythm of it. It's good. You miss the rhythm.
Yeah.
You're going to pay for it a little bit.
Yeah. So I've been bringing this bar to a commercial gym with me now too. Because sometimes I need a break from the heat of the garage.
Yeah.
And I also like to go to a commercial gym. I can't be the only one like this, but I like people to see me lift. I need eyes on me.
You have a YouTube channel.
No, I know, but those people don't exist in my mind. You know what I'm saying? I don't see them.
Yeah.
I need the people in the back, like when you're about to do a lift, and I don't care. It's not for the tension necessarily. It's that if someone's watching me, I'm not going to be a shell of who I am. I have to do this. This must stem from some deep psychological scarring, I think, from my brother. He started lifting before me. And man, if you've never, you know, like the dad, like that, you have to hold the flashlight for the dad, that whole thing. Like, nothing's as hard as holding a flashlight for my old man. So nothing's as hard as spotting your older brother when he's going through puberty and you're not. That doesn't get more difficult than that. Like I remember, I have like these moments are like scarred in my memory. I remember I'd be upstairs playing like some sort of like nerd role-playing game on the computer or whatever.
Zelda.
Maybe not Zelda, maybe Morrowind or something like that. Real nerd shit. But I was like 11, so it cut me, or 10. So give me a freaking break, you know? But anyways, I would just hear like the live Pantera album or 101 Proof. That's like the only Pantera album we had. And he would just like, Eric! I had to run down, yes! And he'd like, you know, hop on my back. He's just learned how to do like donkey calf raises. You know what I'm saying? And he would just like yell at me the whole time that I wasn't doing it right, even though I'm just like trying to sit on his back while he's doing donkey calf raises. Or he just learned like what a back extension is. So we take like a dinner table or whatever, and I have to like try to push his legs down to keep him tight and his back extend. And it's just, he'd just yell at me the whole time. And the pressure of him. And then me, like when I was wrestling, and he would just like make fun of me if I ever lost and stuff too. So it's just deep scarring, but I love him and I really appreciate this. But I feel like this is quintessential in the development of a young man in toughness. You know what I'm saying? Because it's coming from a place of love. Like he was my brother at the end of the day. Was he bullying me? Yes, but it's like it wasn't ill intentions. He was just going through puberty, and I wasn't. You know what I'm saying? He had to take it out on someone. But it helped me really embrace like getting yelled at.
So how does this work its way into every now and again you have to take a tsunami bar into a commercial gym?
We're getting to that. So I would lose in wrestling, and he would make fun of me, and it would just drive me crazy. Like, because I think I just wanted to win, so he didn't make fun of me. You know what I'm saying? So this is deeply scarred in my brain now. I think that if I'm at a commercial gym and I'm going to go for like a deadlift or a squat or something, I can't fail because my brother will make fun of me.
But you can't see it.
Well, it's not even about him anymore. Yeah. He's always there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, like the old man in the gym, like fish-eyeing me as I'm going for the lift, I can't fail for him. You know?
Because your brother's voice.
Yeah, exactly.
So it all started when you were 10.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
So,
I'm processing right now. I still can't correlate this to the old man in the gym, you know, watching everything. You know, I'm really trying to connect the dots with this whole id thing.
Yeah. Because he's going to judge me.
You think?
Yes. But if I hit it, then he'll be blown the fuck away.
All right. So if he sees you fail it, right, it'd be no different than if we're watching a newbie that's got kind of shitty bench failure, miss a 185-pound bench 8 times in a row.
Yeah.
Right. We look over there like, dude, you didn't get it the first 7. Like 8th is kind of fucking stupid. Right. Or then you see him get it on the 9th. Then you're like, fuck yeah, you got that.
Absolutely.
So it's the same thing. You're thinking that this guy's going to judge you. If you miss it, like, look at that big idiot.
Yeah.
But if he makes it.
Oh, but then if you do it, but it's hard. It's hard to summon that. You know this. It's hard to summon that intensity and adrenaline more than once. You know, you can do it.
Yeah.
You definitely can do it, but it's hard.
I call that, actually, Louis called that zippy cards, because I had an alter personality, which they called zippy because the noise I made was zip.
Oh, nice.
Zip,
Yeah,
like that.
Yeah.
So it's, he tried to explain this to me one time, that I only had 3 zippy cards before I was done.
Yeah.
Right. So if it was in a training, use it wisely. But if it was in a meet, I had to be real careful because it was 9 attempts.
For sure.
Right?
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
And the deeper I go into that mindset, the harder it is to recover.
Yeah.
Sometimes throwing up afterwards because you're summoning all the demons and shit, and then the demons got to come out. So it's managing the zippy cards.
Yeah.
You know, so there's only so many times you can do it. But that's if you're talking about the right?
Yeah, for sure.
Right? Now the other strains are a little bit different because you don't need to go that deep and that hard.
But I like the zippy card lifts.
Yeah, the zippy card lifts.
Those are the best.
Yeah.
The other ones are, you take them when you can't get the other. Right? But that's, if you're trying to figure out the system, like when are you getting the zippy cards versus the, the soup, whatever, the different noises. But that's because when you go to the gym, like people say too, you can't always progress in weight. You can't do that. You're going to burn out or you're going to hit a wall. It's like, no, you won't, dude. You just got to change it up. Listen, I saw those. I was like, fuck yeah, man. Weight releasers, the bands, all the tsunami bar and all that kind of stuff too. Like, yes, you'll hit a plateau, but you can always just spice it a little bit. You know what I'm saying? To make it a totally different animal. And then it's not like you have to change the lift per se. You just change a mechanism of the lift and the freaking progress is endless. Is it going to happen overnight? No, but it's...
Well, a lot of times when you change it enough too, you don't even know if it's good for you.
Yeah, well, that's, yeah.
So it sets a new benchmark because you fucked it so many ways with 8 bands and chains and weight releasers. You're like, I don't even know if this is good.
But it's not bad.
But you push really, really hard.
And it's not bad. And it's better than not pushing really, really hard.
Yes.
In my opinion,
All right. So you mentioned, this disastrous event that your brother cast on you, which ended up being a positive. So if you were to give a speech to elementary school kids, what would be 3 takeaways that you'd want them to have? Because as a wrestler, maybe you did do this, speak to kids and so forth.
Oh, yeah.
Because you can't.
Dude, the most important one, I don't know.
Keep in mind, we're talking elementary kids.
We don't even need 3. This is the most important one. This is what everyone needs to understand. Elementary kids, be damned. Okay, I'm talking. Well, let's give them some tips. But let's give everyone some tips. And that's, and this, if you want to talk about from wrestling, let's talk about from wrestling. But this is for anything. I've lost so many matches in wrestling. I had a great swing single, a great shot, but I was always hesitant to do it because I didn't want to freaking miss it and then get gassed out and then I would lose that way. But I would end up losing anyways because I wouldn't go for the shot that I had. I had a great shot. If I would have just taken it more, it's like Michael Jackson. Yeah, it's like Michael Jackson's quote. You miss 10 of the shots you don't take, right? Michael Jackson.
Yeah, well, Jordan. Yeah. Same thing.
I just love Michael Jackson.
Yeah, both famous.
Yeah. Both iconic. Okay. But anyways, like, I'll look back at that and it's like, damn, man, who knows what would have happened if you just tried, right? And it's the same thing in the weight room too. I had to really change my mindset because a lot of times I'd be like, if I was feeling kind of fatigued and stuff, it's like, I don't know if I can do this. Like, I won't try because I don't think I can do it. But at the end of the day, my wife had to tell me. She's like, what's the worst that can happen? Like for a deadlift, for instance. Now, if we're squatting or benching, what's the worst that can happen? You'll probably tear your shit. But for a deadlift, like, it's pretty easy to go for it. And if you fail, like, you're not going to get hurt unless you're like really like hitchy with a terrible form, which I've done plenty in my life. Don't get me wrong. But I look, it's like, listen, if you had a goal, just go for it. No matter even how those warm-up sets are feeling, as long as the safety parameters are in check, okay? You know, freaking a spotter or like the safety's on a rack or something like that. Because at the end of the day, are you failing if you're trying? I don't think so, because you're still trying something that's bigger and better than you've ever done before. And you learn from your failures, and now you know what you can do when you feel shitty, or now you know, like, so for instance, when I was deadlifting one time, I was like, I don't think I can do it. My wife told me, just freaking just sack up and do it. I'm like, okay, I'll try. And I got it to like my like knee level, like, you know, and I couldn't do it. So, God damn it. I knew I shouldn't have tried. But then I had to take a step back, and I had to be like, why is that a bad thing? I knew I felt like shit. My body felt like shit. And even feeling like shit, I got it to like the knee level. And if I would have just not tried in the first place, I wouldn't have known that would be possible. So then the next time I did it, I just waited till I was a little bit fresher, gave myself more recovery. And I was like, well, fuck, man, if I'm fatigued and lethargic and get it to my knee, I can absolutely do this when I'm fresh. And I feel like a lot of times people can be like, oh, just do better programming. I don't think so, man. I think there's more to it. I think it's the mindset. A lot of times people defeat themselves mentally before they even try for shit. Like, you might be like, oh, my max is X amount of pounds. But it could be up here, you know? And even if whatever your perfect programming or something like that, that perfect programming might be set off of your max being here. But that's why I love just the fucking enthusiasm, intensity, going for broke. Because if you're not failing, you don't really know where your bar truly is. And I feel like the people that avoid failure for the most part, you're freaking, you're shooting yourself in the foot.
So the takeaway for these 10-year-old kids is to deadlift as heavy as they can.
Just freaking try, kids.
Just try, right?
Just try.
What if they don't know?
So scared of failure.
What if they don't know what they want to do?
Then you got to try.
Anything.
You don't know. Like, listen here. I played baseball growing up. I did it long enough to know that it wasn't what I wanted to do. And I switched to wrestling, and I liked it. And I stuck with, and because I liked it and I was doing okay with it, I didn't try any other sport. Who knows how it would have been at football or track and field or something. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So shame on me.
No, but you tried enough things to find something that you loved.
I liked wrestling because it was just you. And you know what I mean? Mano y mano. If you win, it's on you. If you lose, it's on you. I liked that. But yeah, so we're talking about with athletics, but then also like jobs, for instance, too. People, I don't know what I want to do. Well, then you just fucking try a lot of jobs or whatever, because you're going to find out real quick what you don't want to do.
Yeah.
So this is for anything. Don't, like, people overthink everything. They're scared of failing with everything too, but like, never going to know until you try. Yeah. You only live once, brother. So
are you familiar with the book Jonathan Livingston Seagull by Richard Bach?
No, not at all.
This was one of the.
Never heard of it.
Louis had me read a couple books.
Okay, I love.
And I've read, I've read most of them, or the two of them, many times. This is outside of the Russian fucking, training manuals and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so
yeah. Oh, so books. That's like I've read Super Squats.
This is like mindset type things where the Book of Five Rings was one.
I've read the Pullican Principles.
Yeah, the Book of Five Rings was one, but this other one, this Jonathan Livingston Seagull was another. And the premise behind all this is you have a seagull that's part of this flock, right?
Okay.
And most seagulls just want to be able to fly around and just to get food and just to do the basic shit. This one seagull, Jonathan Livingston Seagull, wanted to learn how to master flight. Like he wanted to be able to go, 2,000 foot in the air, nosedive down, tail spin out. Do like Blue Angels type of shit, and because of that and his passion, his desire for that, he was basically exiled, right? Because they're all saying, no, be like all the other seagulls and do this. Yeah, so he's exiled. And when he's exiled, flying around, he runs into another group of seagulls that are all basically flight masters. Yeah. Right. So he found his crew, right? Yeah. And so now he's learning all these different fucking things, and he's flying like a fucking raven, eagle, and all this other kind of shit. Yeah. And throughout that mastery process, as he kind of moves through this whole story, he starts to realize and is being mentored by somebody that teaches them that it's not wrong for what you love to be able to do, but at the same point in time, the key takeaway is to, enjoy what it is, like live in the now, not here, but the technical aspects, all these different aspects. And long story short, he ends up going back to the original flock.
Okay.
Right. And they're like, what the fuck are you doing back here? But he wanted to go back because he can take those skills, and pass them on. So now they can be better hunters and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
And then one of the other seagulls, there had that same desire that he had.
Yeah.
So then he kind of showed him, how to become that and then become the master to be able to teach others, and basically like a live, learn, pass on type of thing.
Yeah.
Where with that story, what it kind of resonates is, if it's those kids and they find something they're passionate about, lean into that and then find mentors that, can help them become the greatest at that.
Yeah.
Because all those other voices around them may not want them
for sure
to be able to succeed.
Yeah.
And it will pull them back, in other words, who you surround yourself with.
Yeah.
And you will find another group of mentors. And then at some point in time, when you go back, they're going to welcome it back because you bring a whole different skill set, mindset, to the whole type of thing.
Yeah. People don't like to deviate from the norm for the most part.
Yeah.
If we're going to relate that to lifting, I got so much hate back in the day when I would do all the behind the back deadlifts and stuff too, whatever. But Jefferson did all those stupid ass lifts, but it was like, just do real deadlifts and all that kind of stuff. But the funny thing is, so there's this world record holder powerlifter, Death Grip Derek is his username on Instagram. Yeah. Derek Thistlewhite or something like that. Anyways, he reached out to me that he was a big, he was all into the shit that I was doing back then with the Snap City, behind the back deadlifts and all that kind of stuff. And then eventually he just switched over to powerlifting or whatever.
Yeah.
And he's a world record holder. And I have to think to myself too, it's like, well, how much of that was just learning how to just grind through these terrible positions? And it's like the freaking seagull, you know what I mean? Deviate from the norm, kind of master these other skills, and when you go back, you're just more well-rounded in a different way. But most people don't do that kind of stuff. They just well, this is, I got my accessories that are allowed, and then other things you just don't even touch.
Well, they fall into their camps.
Yeah.
Right. So each camp will have that one thing. Then if they try to break away from that camp, even if it is in pursuit of mastery, that camp's going to want to pull them back in.
I listened to a podcast you did with John Hack, who you guys were talking about. And he was with Dan Pashulk too, which I think we talked about this before, but it was funny because me and Dan used to lift in my wife's mother's basement and just crank death metal in this old sweet neighborhood and stuff. But anyways, John Hack, so they were talking about how he was just doing these heavy ass reverse lunges and that kind of stuff. Yeah. Right. Remember? Yeah, remember them talking about that? And then of course he kind of transitioned into powerlifting and super just great right from the get-go and all that. And I feel like most people, it's just going heavy with weird shit, man. I think it just builds strength in a way that most people don't appreciate. A lot of I know some people that they want think about doing powerlifting and they're just doing their deadlifts and their squats and their pause bench and all that too. But it's I don't know, man. I think you got to throw some Snap City lifts in there.
Well, I wonder though with a lot of them if you go back in their training history, if you're going to find that stuff. I think more times than not, you're going to.
How did you start?
If I go back far enough, it's shit like that.
Yeah.
So it's
go heavy as hell on Bulgarian split squats and
probably 12, 13. I was put in a powerlifting gym around 14, but before that, it was just doing stupid shit.
Yeah.
I remember, it's funny when you think back, you can remember certain sets.
For sure. Yeah.
I remember we took a flat bench and put it across from a low cable, and it was basically just curls with your arms on the flat bench, pulling straight up through. And we would
maxing that.
Yeah, well, we work up to a 1 rep max, but then we would do it for time.
Okay.
Whatever the fuck it took, we're doing this for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
So it's working up to the heavy max, then doing strip sets.
Yeah.
Then you can't even move your fucking arm, and then somebody else is doing your arm, and then it kind of comes back a little bit.
Yeah.
And you just keep going, and then so it would be for 30 minutes or some shit. Biceps be sore as fuck for 2-3 days.
Have you heard that when you learn skills at a young age, it's It puts you at this advantage for the rest of your life.
At a disadvantage?
No, it puts you at
Oh
an
yeah,
advantage.
yeah, I would see that.
Of course.
For sure.
Like the people that like are doing the splits when they're like 4 or 5, 6, like they're never gonna lose that.
Yeah.
Same thing with like people that do gymnastics and all the flips and all that kind of stuff. Like once you start late enough, like you're just kind of screwed. But like if you start early with anything, like, and isn't that why like and like the Soviet Union or whatever, they would like recruit people for lifting and whatever, like based off their limb length and all that kind of stuff to get them started super early. But my whole point is with this, I wonder, like you with the freaking benched 1 rep maxes at a young age, like if that set you up to be, you know, just the powerhouse freakazoid.
Oh, I believe so. I mean, the skill acquisition that you're talking about, and I may screw this up, but there's different attributes that you develop throughout puberty.
Yeah.
Right. And before, like cardiovascular fitness is really, really young. I think this is why the Soviets were throwing babies in pools and shit, you know, from the very beginning. Yeah. And then certain things like balance and coordination are developed in the lower teens, maybe even a little bit beforehand. Mm-hmm. And then explosive strength, flexibility, visual acuity is another big one. You know, the difference between a linebacker and a lineman, right? Is the ability to process and take in all this.
For sure, yeah.
All these have these developmental phases. It doesn't mean you can't improve them, but it means they can be severely compromised if you try to get that later. But the work ethic, I think, comes from a lot of the psychological experiences we go through. Mm-hmm. I remember playing yard football, or it was smear that. I guess we can't say that anymore, right?
I play that too.
You know, all this other kind of shit. And I remember my ankle went into a drain pipe. Okay. And I twisted my fucking ankle. It hurt like a bitch. Yeah. I don't think it was broke because I had a cast. So I go in the house. My dad's pissed, just pissed. Like, get the fuck back out there and finish. You know, you don't fucking quit. Yeah. You know, then that was reinforced when I decided to play soccer one year when I was really young. I fucking had asthma. I couldn't breathe. I fucking hated it. After like 1 week, I'm like, I'm done. Like, no, you signed up. Yeah. You fucking finished this whole thing. Yes. And those little things like that, you know, I believe developed this no quit attitude.
Sure. 100% there. Yeah.
You know, it's very helpful, but can also be it can work against you too. Yeah. You know,
I mean, you're not going to quit even.
Yeah. One way I could, I could still be bouncing in fucking bars in Detroit, you know, because I never wanted to quit anything. Like, I didn't want to be seen as that. You know, you can fire me. That's one thing, but I'm fucking not going to quit until it's done. Yeah. But trying to figure out when it's done, you know, is kind of the rough part. But I think those experiences for sure, like if you don't have that, you know, I don't know how you develop that. Yeah. The younger, the better. Yeah. Yeah. The
tenacity and the grit. Well, I bring this up too, because we're going to relate this to the current fitness trends of the perfect programming for hypertrophy, yada, yada, is like a lot of these people preaching this, like they probably started like what we're talking about. You know what I'm saying? Bench, 1 rep maxing and all that. So, but they're like preaching to the youth, because you know who is watching these videos. I feel like it's got to be a lot of the young generation that are just trying to learn, like, oh, that's not optimal. I shouldn't be doing it that way. They're not like, for instance, like Jeff Nippard. I have nothing against him. I think he's a very respectable, great guy. You know, I've commented a lot of his videos or whatever, and he like reached out to me or whatever too, like no hard feelings, anything. But he's like, I'm you know, national champion bodybuilder, you know, but it's like, but dude, did you train with these lengthened partials your whole life, or were you doing deadlifts and squats and 1 rep maxing and stuff? You know what I mean? So a lot of these people, they started like Mike Israetel as well, like, you know what I mean? He's got his you know, his training philosophy basically, but I've seen like his younger stuff, you know, just horse-cocking, overhead press and all that. It's like, where were all the building blocks leading to this point where now these youngsters are going to be just like tempo, like I don't want to go too heavy because it's going to go against the tempo, and I want to just get the deep stretch, and you get what I'm saying?
No, that brings up an interesting question though, because did those guys come to the conclusion because, you know, they've learned more over time? But we've all been told, if you're looking to aspire to be like somebody else, don't look at what they're doing now, look at what they did. you know,
Yeah.
to be able to get there. And that's any pro athlete, that's any athlete, it's anybody in business or whatever it was, because it's different.
For sure.
You
Yeah.
know, those growing years with that. So
Yeah.
that brings up the question, is it necessary or is it not necessary? You know what I'm saying?
Freaking necessary, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
To learn how to horsecock weights for the freaking id factor or whatever.
Yes.
Like otherwise you're training. And I have nothing against the current, like the optimal style of training. Like I get it. Like if I'm feeling like shit someday or whatever, and I don't have any of the oofs of the guas or any of that kind of stuff too, I might be like, well, all right, well, I'll just like do some dumbbell flies and really stretch it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I have nothing against it, but I feel like, and I get it at the same time too, because you're just trying to teach people to train in a responsible manner and all that injury prevention and all that. But too, like then people are looking at this for training, and there's a lot of different factors are coming into play too, like for athletics and stuff like that too. I think you need to train freaking explosively. I think if you're only training that way, but if that's how you build muscle, I think you're putting yourself disservice to yourself.
Well, the hard work becomes an interesting thing to define. Right, because the hardest you've ever worked is the hardest that you've ever worked.
Yes,
you know, where you get around a group of, say, when you're wrestling, right, and you're doing any of the stupid conditioning that you had to do.
Yeah. I know exactly. Yes.
There's a certain point. There's a lot of points to where you're like, man, I'm fucking done.
Yeah.
But you can't be done because you got 10 other guys on your shit and a coach on your shit that shows you that there's a whole other level that you didn't know that you could get to.
Yes.
And that's formative because that changes what your definition of work is. You know, it's somebody doing a set to failure. You know, if they're leaving 2 reps in the tank, you might be able to gauge that. I may be able to, a lot of experienced people can gauge that pretty accurately. Yeah. But take somebody that's relatively new or intermediate person.
You're looking at mechanical failure.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that curl is starting to lift my elbows a bit too much.
Yeah. Then put them in with 3 or 4 guys that are for horsecock in their training. Yeah. Right. All of a sudden they're getting 4 or 5 reps more than what they thought with, you know, 10% more weight. Yeah. Where'd that come from? You know what I'm saying? Like, where was that? And that might not have been exposed had they not been in that situation to make it exposed.
Yeah. I think like training programs and stuff, I get it. It's direction for people. But more important than anything, like I'm not against trainers because I feel like just having someone on your ass is, but I feel like it's kind of an in-person thing. Because I've thought about from time to time too. I was like, man, I mean, there's the online coaching. There's always a demand for that kind of stuff too. But it's like, I feel like it's not as authentic as being there in person. Like if I had wrestling, if my coach was like, all right, you're going to do this. This is the workout for today. Give me a sheet of paper. I think I'm going to give it as much gusto as when you're in there and they're like screaming at you and stuff too. And again, I get responsible training, but at the end of it, it's like what you were saying. Like we, in college, man, like they would lock us in a sauna. It was probably illegal, but they would lock us in a sauna, like, and you'd be like 20 minutes on the clock and stuff. It's just like mental anguish, you know. And you'd have wrestling practice, and you'd have to go for like a 5-mile run. At the end of it, you'd have to run up the stadiums 20 times, or you'd have to run 3 miles with a 45-pound plate, like just like stupid shit. But it's like so hard, and like you were saying, you have to do it. Yeah. Whereas it's on a piece of paper, it's like do this. You're like, oh, okay. Run with a 45-pound plate, you do it for half a mile. Like fuck this, I'm not doing.
That's what I'm saying. If you're given that piece of paper in that situation, you're going to do what you want to do. Yeah, for sure. And you'll do that hard, but then all the other stuff, maybe.
And you'll be very convincing to yourself too. Like, oh, this is as hard. This is as tired as I can get. I can't do any more than this.
Yeah, I think that happens a lot. Yeah, right? Because the things that you're going to not do are probably the things that you need to do the most. Yeah, yeah. You know, are going to challenge you the most with that. What are some of the other trends that you're seeing? Because one of the topics that you put down here was trends. Right, and there's always trends coming and going.
Yeah, I think it's just like the hyper obsession on form and stuff like that. I've seen so many videos where it's just like pencil neck weight, but like really retract the shoulder blades and all that kind of, you know what I mean? Just trends in that sense. That's what I'm referring to basically. And it's like, my God, dude. Like, yes, it's like the Olympic lifting that we were talking about. You can practice technique for 20 years and still improve with your technique. Or for the vast majority of society, like, is that going to help you with your goals or whatever? You want to be stronger or bigger? It's like with the benching, it's like, yeah, you can really retract and tuck and press in like an arc and all that. Or you could just grab the bar and just press it for, you know, saying like, yes, there's points where people need to specialize. Like if you're, trying to get this 2,000 pound total in powerlifters, but most people freaking lifting are just, you know what I mean? Like when we started, I'm sure it was the same for you. When we started lifting with benching, it was just flared elbows. And honestly, like probably better for it then too.
Well, I mean, remember the neck press?
The neck machine?
No, the neck press where you would press to your neck. I used to do a ton of those. That was probably fucking stupid as fuck to do for your shoulders, but who knows? But it was stupid shit.
Are you talking about the guillotine one?
Yeah.
But dude, I did that too. I was, oh my God, I feel it so much. When you're young, you can get away. Now, if we did it, we'd probably tear something.
Yeah.
But when you're young, you can get away with it. And like we said, that probably sticks with you. I don't know. I don't know. But I thought you were talking about at first, like a neck bridge bench press.
Oh no, I never did that one. That was probably your school there, because that's like wrestling shit.
Yeah.
With the neck.
Probably terrible for your neck integrity.
Yeah, probably not the best fucking thing in the whole world. So when you're making the reaction video on these trends, you're looking at those videos from the perspective of the younger lifter that's coming in.
Yeah.
And then reacting based upon that.
Yeah. I'm not. I think a lot of people, because I get a lot of flack sometimes for that too. It's like peak optimization of hypertrophy. It's like, dude, what? Are you like a 30-year lifter and you've like maxed out your structure and all that? So every ounce of muscle you can add, you know what I'm saying? Like most people, like I was talking about, this all goes back to the beginning of like high school football program. Because listen, I was in high school. I never went to the high school weight room. I went to like the Globo gym and did my Arnold workouts in the home gym or whatever. But like I was intimidated to go into the football weight room. You know what I mean? And I look back now with all this experience and knowledge of the team sports and all that kind of stuff. And it's like, man, like I really missed out by that. And why just getting after it, just having pressure to just advance and just do everything to grow and all, it's all like maintenance. Don't eat above maintenance. You could grow muscle with eating at maintenance. All this bullshit, dude. Like you guys are just setting yourself up for like the longest journey. I know that lifting is like a marathon. It's not a sprint, but my God, how long do you want that marathon to be?
Now, at that time though, you were wrestling, right?
Yeah.
And you were training, outside of the football team, right?
Yeah. I trained hard too, man. Don't get me wrong. I would run with the medicine balls and all that kind of shit too. But like, I'm talking about like, I would go in the football weight room from time to time. And it was like, they would have like the record boards. How the fuck are these guys so strong?
Did you ever train with him though?
No.
All right. Because I was kind of in that same situation to where, I'm powerlifting with these older dudes, independently, for wrestling and so forth. But the intent was way fucking different.
Yeah.
Because we're all training, to get fucking strong.
Yeah.
And horsecock and all these other things.
Yeah.
Then I would go in the football weight room and it was just like slapdick fucking humor time.
Oh, gotcha.
It's like, I don't want to be a part of this.
Yeah.
Like this is a waste of my fucking time. And they had the record boards and all the other kind of stuff, but they weren't getting after it.
I gotcha.
In that same way. Yeah. So I'm like, no. And
that's true. I guess it's case by case in the environment.
Yeah. It probably alienated me from learning the teamwork that may be associated with that compared to the other.
I think that's okay though. But yeah, I mean, you had your own community in terms of horsecocking.
Yeah, what was different? They're just going through the fucking universal machines, checking off the box.
Oh yeah,
Like, no man, I'm good. Are you looking to boost recovery, enhance your sex drive, and improve performance in the gym? Do you think your hormones are out of whack and you're tired of getting the runaround from your doctor? Things like your hormones are just fine, stop lifting heavy weights, etc., etc., etc. I know what that feels like, as I've been down that road most of my life. This is why we've partnered with Merrick Health. Merrick Health is a premium telehealth platform that specializes in hormone optimization and preventative medicine, ensuring a better quality of life. Merrick Health offers a table talk panel tailored for our listeners, featuring comprehensive tests like total and free testosterone, sensitive estradiol, and advanced markers like lipoprotein A and IGF-1. These comprehensive panels of up to 84 carefully selected biomarkers allow you to identify areas of enhancement and maximize your physical, cognitive, and sexual performance. It's much different than the panels you may get from your doctor. Choose between self-service options where you can select lab panels based upon decades of experience, or opt for guided optimization with your own health coach. Start with a detailed breakdown of your labs and receive personalized treatment options, both over the counter and prescription. Visit merrickhealth.com/table talk and use the code Table Talk to get 10% off your first order. Merrick Health isn't just about better health, it's about empowering you to take control of your well-being.
Yeah, we didn't have that in our weight room. It was just bench and squat, cleans, and all that kind of stuff. Like our football program, we had a pretty good football program. They were state champs.
Yeah.
So like, it took it seriously, you know, and like the football strength coach guy was just like jacked too. So you know,
Yeah.
You know, he looked at these kids like fucking pencil necks. Let's push some weights. But like for me, like my training, because I was wrestling, like dude, my training on my own. Like, yeah, I trained hard, like, for conditioning. I was in great condition and stuff, but, like, I was just going off of the Arnold Encyclopedia of Bodybuilding, Gold's Gym books of exercises, and I'm like, I guess I'll do this workout today where it's, like, 3 sets of 12. You know what I mean? But, like, I didn't have anyone to push weight, and I really missed out in that regard.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm talking about. Because like in football, usually it's like bench and your squat. Like, let's fucking get those numbers up.
Oh, because they're pushing their numbers up.
Yes.
Okay.
I never had anyone to stress me. I was just my whole thing was like hypertrophy rep range and stuff.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I was 22, because I wrestled Division I, Big Ten. Like, it was serious, you know? So we had our own strength and conditioning that we would do, but it was basically just like the football strength coach, like one of the assistants, because nobody cared about wrestling. Football is where all the money was. So like, wrestling didn't get their own strength coach. Just take one of the football guys, and they would just have us do like a football program. But like, for a lot of strength coaches, like, I would imagine it's the same for most universities. Like, your main goal is just not to get anyone hurt. You know what I mean? So you're not going to be going crazy. But we were doing lower reps, and it's like the first time doing lower reps is in like the college weight room, and it wasn't until I was lifting, you know, at the Princeton Club, this Globo gym, trying to be all, again, trends of prolonged eccentrics and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, I was really into that. Just pencil neck shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this Russian guy, I might have told you this story before, but this guy comes up to me, and because I was an athlete, so I had a decent musculature, and I think he was just trying to like recruit people to train or whatever. Like, he asked me how much I could deadlift, and I was fucking pencil neck, you know what I mean? Like, I thought 335 was good, so I told him at 335, and he's just like, kind of like, he's like, he was appalled how weak I was. So he like taught me to like hip hinge and how to squat, and like just taught me like kettlebell swings and deadlifts and shit. And brother, this is why I'm like so on, I don't want to say I'm on a pedestal, but I am. I'm standing on a pedestal now because I did this pencil neck shit for, at this point, it was already 11 years of training. And it wasn't until I started just horsecocking that like I wasn't even, so I bumped up to heavyweight, but I was already at heavyweight for 1 year, and like I was only like 220s is the heaviest I could get. All I changed, dude, was that training, and I put like over 10 pounds on, and frick, my strength just was exploded. And it's like, it's not just like, oh, that's just your barbell strength. Like, nobody cares how much you're not gonna bench someone on the football field on the rest. Yeah. I think that's such a stupid bullshit statement, because like just my deadlift, like gaining hundreds of pounds, frick did I feel strong then, like on the wrestling mat too. And it's not just like, it's like a 1 rep, like, oh, I'm fatigued. It's like, no, man, like the stronger your like the higher your ceiling for strength, like you're gonna have, you know what I mean? If you were doing reps with 315 before, now if your ceiling's gone up here, now you're doing reps with 405. You know what I'm saying? Like, so like just that change, and I think people are just desperately clutching at straws to avoid training that way for the most part, because it's all like high, you know, I don't know, eccentrics and reps and bullshit, just fucking horsecocks and weights. So I'm not saying don't do some reps, but let's see where your ceiling's at, and then we can back off. So
when you're training in these other clubs, you see other people training.
Yeah.
What are most Dude, people, how do they train?
Oh my God, man. That was like, I just told someone else this the other day. Yeah, because I was at the gym. This was like literally just a couple days ago. And I was working out next to this one guy. It wasn't like we weren't working out together. He was just doing his thing and I was doing my thing. And it was after I just horsecocked this 350 or whatever, like with no form. And he saw me fail the first time too. But then I was just like pacing around and kind of like grunting like a wild wildebeest. And after I did the lift or whatever, he's like, dude, I didn't want to interrupt you, but that was badass. So I'm like, yeah, man, like, I feel like it's just a switch. You know what I'm saying? My switch was off, and then there was a moment you just got to turn it on. And this is literally like word for word I was telling him. I was like, if you look around at everyone at the gym here, everyone's switch is off. You don't see who's pacing, you know what I'm saying? And guys, don't get it twisted. I'm not saying people have to like just 1 rep max, snap city. My point is like, it's that switch. You don't ever see people flipping a switch. People are bone dry for the most part. Or if they're not bone dry, they're just doing like an arm workout and they're a bit sweaty and all that. But dude, like I said, I want to do an arm workout with you. Watch me flip a fucking switch.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what you're doing. It doesn't matter if it's a squat or a deadlift or whatever. Fuck, do some, hammer curls. You got to flip the switch though.
So you rarely see this in any gyms that you're going to.
I never see it. Of course, I'm not like at a
here. I get it. Yeah,
but I'm talking about like crunch fitness. You know what I'm saying? Like these types of gyms.
Yeah,
and these are the same people that I see here, just like okay, this is what we're doing next. Oh, it's like, dude, you can train that way, but flip the fucking switch.
Yeah. No, it's interesting to me because they're obviously using some type of program if they're using their phone to be able to track what the program is, right? So they're beyond just like drifting around reading the instructions on the machines to figure out how to do the shit. Yeah. So they have the consistency and all the other stuff, but they don't have the effort.
Yes.
From what you're saying.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much everybody.
Not everyone. People are going to get offended by it. But no, I'm saying like, most people at a gym. Yes, there's people that train hard. Like I'll give kudos to another guy I was training to the other day. Like, grinded. You can tell he wouldn't get another rep, but he went for another rep on the squat anyways. And he hit a bail and he failed. And it's like, good job, brother. You had the safeties on. You could safely fail. You pushed it. I didn't think you were going to go for another one, but you did. And God damn it, that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's, you rarely see that. Another thing I've really been thinking about a lot is you rarely see people failing. Maybe on bench because that's like a universal. Like everyone wants a big bench and they're in their group of people. It's like, go, brother, go. Yeah. So they're failing that. But when do you see people failing on squats or something? It's scary, right?
Yeah, I mean.
But you got to do it. You got to do it, man.
So you got to fail on squats?
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm going to agree with that one.
As long as you got the safeties or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the 20 rep squats, dude. Hey, that's another thing too. Super squats, the freaking gallon of whole milk and the 20 rep squats like every other day. That changed my life, man.
How?
I'll tell you how. So reading that little book or whatever, like I said, I'm not a huge literature enthusiast. But when it comes to training books, you bet your ass I'll read that. Reading is good, by the way. People should do it. But my point is, I read this book, and it's like, take a weight you can do for 10 reps and do it for 20. And you're like, holy fuck. I've never thought of that's, how's that even possible?
Yeah. But
it is. And once you go through that, you're like, wow. It's like another thing you didn't know you had it in you, but like, it's just, dude, it's like, what? It's like, what? How can you just double something? But with this set of 20, because the weight is light enough or so, it's like, take as much time as you need, breathe through it, and just get to 20. And I blew myself away. I was like, wow, dude. Because I didn't think, this is still more pencil neck status. So you start with like 225. You're like, holy shit, that was hard. How am I ever going to do 235 tomorrow or every other day, or even 5 more pounds, realistic. And it just gets harder and harder and harder and harder. But then you just start to like learn. You're like, oh shit, like I can. And you put like 100 pounds on it. Oh, dude, you're telling me you're not gonna have a difference between squatting 225 for 20, getting up to 405 for 20? And I think that's possible for a lot of people. People are like, I can't do that. I can only, like, say 315. I can only squat 315 for 10. It's like, no, you can do it for 20. It's just really fucking hard. And then after I did that, Eventually you hit a wall. You're like, I'm just going to get hurt if I keep trying. You will hit a wall for sure.
How long did that take?
To hit a wall?
Yeah.
A month, I think, around there, if I remember correctly. This was a long time ago. But then I did it again a couple times, and it's just so brutal. But yeah, like eventually. But then I was like, dude, if this works, I mean, this works for squats, and I get the breathing squats and all, you can rest. But like, why not like do it for Romanian deadlifts and stuff too? You know what I mean? Like, and it was like, is it the exercise? Is it the reps? Or is it just the mindset? And I think it just was ingrained that. It's like, wow.
The mindset part.
Yeah.
So we tried to define that in the last episode, you know, so, and I don't know if we really did that.
Squats.
Yeah, I don't know if we really did that or not.
Yeah.
How would you define that now?
The mindset?
Yeah, because people are asking you about that all the time, right?
I don't think it's definable.
Yeah. Well, that's convenient.
Okay, think about you gotta do a set of 20 on the squats, but you grab a weight you can do for 10. Holy shit. That's a mindset.
Yeah.
That's a lot. It's a lot of things, but it's also a mindset. It's a mindset that no matter what, you're gonna do it. It's a mindset you're gonna load the bar up, and although you don't think you can do it, you're gonna fucking try. And you know how you're gonna try? You're gonna crank the tunes. You're gonna get some fucking grunts and some groans. And if you only move it that much, it's okay, brother, because it's that much more than you've ever moved it in your life. And now next time you move it that much.
So if you extrapolate that out, and now you're giving the speech to adults, you know, on how to get more out of their life. Yeah. What does that look like? Because we talked about the 10-year-olds, right? So now we're going to take it up a couple intellectual steps.
Okay. This is general advice for adults. And I say all this stuff, and I don't want to come across like I'm like standing on a soapbox preaching here, but this is deeply burned in my brain. First of all, these fucking people taking these days off. You don't need a day off, right? You need a habit. You need to make it a good habit. People ask me like, oh, what should I start doing? I want to start getting back in the gym, and I want to start, you know, what program? It's like, bro, dude, program. No. Go to the gym every day. Pick just one machine. Do the machine every day. Just try to get one more rep or whatever it is on the machine. Why? Because you're just instilling a habit that you're going to the gym every day. And when you go to the gym, you're just instilling the habit that you're going to just get this little more progress every single day. And just get more comfortable in this groove. Okay, I go every single day. And now eventually you can hit, instead of this machine, let's do this machine. All right. And then eventually you're going to get some, you know, confidence and some cojones. Okay, then we do the same thing with the barbell. And it's just the habit of every single day you're going there. Whether it's a sick facility like this or it's at home or it's a fucking global gym, just get there. Like people are like, oh, I need a day off. Bro, you don't need There's a million things you can do that you can feel fresher the next, like we can go and do fucking wrist curls or something. You know what I mean? Like the
1,000 rep gripper.
Yeah, anything, just anything. Just think, how can you progress every single day on anything? And it's like, so caveman like, oh, but that's not good programming and the undulating. And it's just like, no, dude, it's a mindset. It's not a program. It's a mindset that every single day you're going to do something, you're going to get a little bit better every single day. And it doesn't even have to be related. One day you're going to get better at deadlifting or something. Another day you're going to get better at, you know, box jumping. I don't care. Another day you're going to get better at fucking doing the elliptical. Just something. But intent and goals, that's it. People that don't have a goal, like I think somebody else asked me, like, oh, my friend, like, super smart, yeah, but he's not doing much with his life. It's like, he's probably not doing much with his life because he doesn't have fucking goals. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's your birthday or it's New Year's resolution. New Year's resolution, people are like, oh, I hate New Year's resolutions. Fucking shame on you, dude. New Year's resolutions is the one time a year where the majority of people are going to make a goal to do something. But instead of a big freaking grandioso New Year's goal, let's have a goal for each single day. And it just gives you purpose each single day. A lot of times people are just fucking scrolling their phone. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. Just like looking. Why are you know what I mean? Why are you so obsessed with what's going on, other people's lives and all that? Like, just think of, just progress in something. And you want advice for an adult, right? Whether it doesn't have to just be the gym or whatever too. And listen, I'm no one to speak because I don't read, but how about like reading a little bit? What about drawing a freaking picture or something? Just something, a goal, just something to express artistic or physicality, mental, anything. I think just as a society, a lot of people are so lethargic, like zombie mode.
So if you're goal driven, right, and you have, you know, that big horsecock goal, right?
Hell yeah.
We just put that out there, and then it's taken away. You know, so it could be your D1 wrestling career, it could be the WWE, could be whatever it is. How do you reframe, you know, after that? Because if that is, now we're talking like big fucking audacious goals, right?
Yeah.
That you're driving towards. And then when that's over, you know, there's the identity crisis and all this other kind of shit. But that goal has to be replaced with something. Yeah. Right. So what's that process?
Well, I don't think you can just pick a big grandioso goal right away. Then.
Yeah.
I think it's all the baby goals too. It's like in high school wrestling, something that we always had to do was like write down like 3 goals, 3 little goals and like a big goal or something like that. And it's at the time you're like this punk kid. This is fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Why do I have to write it down? But I feel like it's manifesting destiny, you know? And I think that it's like blowing up the birthday candles. Like, do we believe in magic? Probably not, right? Magic doesn't exist. Does it? Does it exist? Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah. I'm gonna go with
but at least you're coming up with some sort of vision, some sort of self-fulfilling prophecy. I don't think anyone should waste blowing up the birthday candles. Think of something. What do you want for this year? And if you just write down a couple, maybe you don't have to write it down, but you have to at least know, like, what are you striving for? Mm-hmm. Right. And again, if it's something big, like your wrestling career just ended, like it doesn't have to be anything related. It's just have a couple directions, just fucking laser focus. It's like horsecocking weights.
Yeah.
If you have no focus, like I said, I'll go in there and it'll kind of be instinctual. Like maybe I'll try this but there's gotta be, you have to come to a conclusion at some point. Otherwise it's a fucking waste of gym time.
Yeah.
Because if you're not going to one up something, then it's 2 steps backwards.
So what would be your goals now?
For what?
Your main goals that you're striving for.
Oh, just right now. Just listen. I think I've been doing a great job with it. Just horse cockery. And
just taking that to the next level.
Yeah, obviously. I've just taken that to the next level too. But yeah, just trying to build like I guess. It's like, it's tough just because like, what do people ask me all the time? Like, what are you doing now? Because obviously, like I was before I was like, oh, yeah, I'm in the WWE. Like, that's what I was known as. But now it's like, brother, it's 2024, man. You can just be you. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I want to just horsecock weights up the wazoo and just build my own platforms and do some other cool shit that, we'll keep on the back pocket.
So the main goals are the shit that's in the back pocket.
Yeah.
That you're working towards.
Yeah. We'll see though. Yeah.
What do you mean we'll see? Because that goes against your whole mindset fucking thing, right?
We'll
like,
see.
What the fuck?
It's going to happen.
You know what I'm saying?
Manifest destiny.
or I'll see later.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. You'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
You'll see.
Okay, I get it. So then there's something every day that you're doing to be able to move towards that.
Yeah.
Okay. And so that would be the advice for the adults is find something.
Yeah.
That
Same
you
thing
can
with the gym. The gym's so freaking relatable. You know what I'm saying? Fine. Just progress a little bit with something here and there. You don't have to do everything every day. Just one thing to better whatever it may be, professionally or financially or hobby.
Mm-hmm.
Hobby. There's nothing wrong with the hobby.
So what
gives
would be
you a
your
sense of fulfillment?
Yeah. So then what would be your hobbies?
Well, I'm just obsessed with horsecockery. But...
Yeah, you see what I'm saying? Well, I like to throw that out, right? Because everybody says, that's important.
Yeah.
But then when you dig into it, they're like, fuck, I don't have one.
No, no. I do have. I like to play guitar too.
Yeah.
The thing is, I don't really care about that. But if I did, like when I was in WWE and like my gimmick was the guitar playing, I'd do that shit every single day. I'm like, I have to. It was kind of like the wrestling stuff. It's like you have to get better. You know what I mean? Otherwise, you're a fucking shame. You know? Like you have to get. And of course, like if it's just consistency. Consistency is key to anything.
So is that what you're using to build a YouTube channel now?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So
Well, yeah. So listen, I don't like talking about other people's videos. I like just freaking throwing weights around.
yeah.
Unfortunately, in today's day and age, a lot of people don't care about you throwing weights around, which I guess in a sense I get it. They want to learn. Everyone's kind of selfish and like, I don't care about his horse cockery. How can I horse cock weights? You know what I'm saying? So like sometimes you got to do what you got to do, and you know you got to talk about, you got to critique other people's shit, but it's just part of the grander vision.
How do you determine what you're going to critique?
I think if there's like a helpful message in a sense, like for instance, I'll throw this out there. So there's I guess like the world's most famous eagle lifter, El Campeon.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I'm talking about? Yeah.
Yeah. I think Larry Wheels just had him on, didn't he?
Which I'm upset about. Yeah, I wanted to be the one. I wanted a horse weights with El Campeon. But anyways, like I just talked about one video, like, and obviously these are stupid bullshit videos. Like, these videos hold no merit. But anyways, one day I was like, oh, here's a video, Ronnie Coleman reacting to El Campion's video. I'm like, I'm going to watch this because I think that there's something to learn from here. And Ronnie's obviously just like appalled and just gasping at what he's witnessing. And I'm like, I don't know, Ronnie, let's take a step back, for instance. This guy, while his form may be shit and, you know, maybe it's even just a shtick, a gimmick, who knows? But if it's not, like, you got to give him credit that he is training with some freaking balls. Stupidity, yes, but my God, is he trying? And that's the effort.
The 4 belt thing is the only, because I'm watching a lot of this, right?
That's got to be a gimmick.
And I'm like, what the fuck's the point of 4 belts?
Yeah, I think at this point he's lean.
And they were over each other. I could get it if they were like,
so skeleton, yeah.
I've done that. You know,
yeah, of course.
I couldn't criticize that. Haven't been somebody that's done it.
Yeah.
But that one was like, what the fuck? There's another one.
That makes me think that, it's unfortunately it's turned into a gimmick. But I feel like it had everything that becomes a gimmick starts from real, you know, the realness. And I feel like the extreme ego lifting, like, it might be laughable at times, but the effort is there.
So with these videos, when you're reacting to those, do you watch them before you actually do the reaction? Mm-mm. So that's kind of a risk, right? Because it could be nothing to talk about.
No, but I can always talk about something. Yeah. It's because at the end of the day, like, it's like doing a podcast. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what you're going to talk about, but all you got is your freaking life experiences, and you got some morals that you stand on. Like, you have to hoist heavy loads, and you can't. I get it. This is optimal technique and reps and reserve and all that. But at the end of the day, like El Campeon, like, maybe eventually he'll go to this school of thought. And when he does, holy buckets, everybody better look out.
You think?
Maybe right now it's such a shtick and a gimmick that everything's for the camera, but on his own he's like, you know what, it's time to get serious. Everyone's criticizing my form and this eagle lifting. And he just fucking puts 40 pounds of mass on, and then the next time he like collaborates with Larry Wheels, everyone's laughing at him, and he just fucking blows you out of the water.
Well, I think he needs to eat.
Yeah,
I think
that's another thing. Hey, that's another thing too with like the training and all that. Like, everyone's so hyper focused on this for muscle mass and all, but then a lot of times that's the missing component.
Yeah.
It's like, how many peanut butter and jelly sandwiches are you eating?
Because I didn't watch the whole thing. I watched enough to, you know, I could be wrong. He works a labor job, then rides his bike for like 7 miles to the fucking gym. Yeah, you know, with his giant bag. Work ethic. You know, so it's a big work ethic.
The form sucks and whatever, but the fucking the work ethic is there.
Yeah, but the whole time that with all that, I'm thinking he needs to eat. Mm-hmm. You know, a lot more. Yeah. If he's doing all that, you know,
he didn't. Everyone's like, because he wears the ladies' compression pants. You know what I'm saying? And the work boots and stuff. It's not the most flattering outfit, but he's probably got some decent freaking density. Now, if he just sucked down a couple peanut butter and jelly sandwiches or something, he'd probably balloon. People are like, holy shit.
Cat food. You can't forget that. Right.
No, I learned from that. That's not a good diet. We don't have carnivorous teeth.
Yes.
We don't have knife-like teeth to eat the kibble.
Yeah. And that's an easy one. That was one that I used, by the way, was the peanut butter sandwiches, because you can rip through like 10 of those a day.
And that's like the staple. That's what I was talking about with like high school football. Just eat some peanut butter and jellies, and everyone puts 20 pounds on, you know?
I can't remember the strength coach. And this was at a Division I school. They were basically feeding the athletes peanut butter and jelly sandwiches
Good, yeah.
throughout the whole workout because
Wow,
they were figuring if they could get 4 of them in.
Oh,
it
yeah.
was 800 calories or something.
Hey, when I was at the peak of bulking, that was like the #1 tidbit I would give people too. It's like, hey, you're probably eating a lot throughout the day, right? You're probably having your big breakfast or having your big dinner. But if you're anything like me and you're in the gym for damn near 2 hours, that was always it was a light switch. Like, dude, I could consume 1,000 calories while I'm working out, and it's not like it's that heavy spaced out between, and that's 1,000 extra calories. Like, I don't know about you, but when I was trying to gain weight, like I would kind of, guess, like, all right, I think I was around 3 or 4. I want to get to 5, and I would just stay up and eat more.
Yeah.
You don't have to stay up. You got to just eat during your workout.
Yeah, figure out how to put it in during the day. Yeah.
Just find a way to sprinkle it in. And it's the missing link for everyone, I feel like, for the most part. Like, oh, I can't gain weight. It's like, dude, you're not eating enough. I'm a hard gainer. No, you're just not eating enough. I thought I was a hard gainer for the longest time.
Yes.
Because I'd have a Qdoba burrito once a day. I'm like, that's probably 3,000 calories.
Exactly. Yeah. I used to use remember the Ultra Fuels? It was just carbohydrates, right?
Yeah.
But it was 400 calories per bottle.
Oh, yeah.
You could knock one of those down and not even slow down.
Was that a ready to drink?
Yeah. Was it ready to do? There was powder too.
Yeah.
There was powder too, which I went with the powder because it was cheaper and it came in a big tub.
Yeah.
So I would take half the powder, dump it into a lemonade container, fill up the jug with water and that.
Yes.
And that would go every day.
I guess I'll still say that's my #1 golden tidbit is to people is like carb powder is probably the easiest, but it's just consuming the carbs in the workout. But the carb powder, man, like the Carbolin was one I would do, or like the Carbo Gain or something too. Yeah, you just put 800 calories in or whatever and some like aminos or something too, and it makes literally no difference. It's no different than if you're just drinking water through it, but you're getting fucking stacked jacks
or anything.
Yeah.
The protein will take care of itself.
Yes.
Through the other meals, it's just excess calories.
Yeah, exactly.
To be able to throw in.
The easiest calories to throw in. Now, I will say that when you're guzzling heaps and heaps of the carb powder, it gets a bit expensive.
Well, I went to the maltodextrin from a horse supply store.
Oh, geez. You ever bought the horse supplements?
Sure.
I've seen.
I mean, the way I saw that, if they're going to put this in $1 million racehorse, it's good for me because I'm not worth a fucking $1 million.
I've seen, and those horse supplements look awesome. It's like Super Gainer 1,200, and I'm like, man, I wonder.
Yeah, there was this one because I used to scour the stores.
Yeah.
Because you could get liniment there.
Yeah.
Right? So there was a liniment. Then there's always those powders.
Yeah.
And there's this one time called Fat Cat. And I'm like, oh, this has got to be great because you're supposed to mix it with the oats.
Okay.
That fucking horse.
Was it like a spray oil?
It was a powder type of thing.
Okay.
And I tried it once. It was fucking terrible.
Oh,
it was fucking. But for me, it was like the holy grail. It was like the lights beaming off of it on the shelf. Like this is it, man. This is the one. And my regular trips, I'd also get cattle implants, but that's a whole different thing. And that was the main reason. I'm getting the fucking implants.
You're just turning into a cow, basically.
Yeah, I mean,
a bull.
Buckeye Horse Supply was
turn me into a bull.
My favorite store ever was Buckeye Horse Supply across from the racetrack, because you could always find whatever supplement, like the carb powder and shit like that. You knew if we have it, then horses have it too.
That's great.
I would kind of go that
Have you ever
route.
seen how just vascular horses too? Just lean and
fucking
vascular.
jacked, man. And it's right across from the racetrack, so of course it's for the
luscious hair too. Like, man, these things are getting just the best multivitamin.
Oh, most definitely. Most definitely. And the little fridge would have B12 and shit like that in there.
Geez.
So it was heaven. It really, when then you come in the gym, you're like, look at this shit.
Oh, geez, Louise.
Yeah. So I think the Fat Cat I gave to somebody else and told them it was the greatest thing ever.
Okay. And they just guzzled it.
They probably took it. And
it's the greatest thing ever. I can't not take it.
Fucking terrible. It was fucking terrible. Ruined the fucking oatmeal entirely. All right, so we were just talking about some odd shit, but you brought up the supplement industry, and we were talking about some old school supplements.
Yeah.
Where I think the statement that I made was I never took anything from a supplement store because I knew it wasn't going to be.
And I would say the supplement store had the strongest stuff back in the day.
They did.
I used to work at GNC. This is like right after they really cut down on. I think it was when MLB players were all testing positive for stuff.
Yes.
I think it was like the 6-oxo or something. Maybe that's what it was. But like, I remember as I got, it was like 2010 or something. I can't remember why it was, but I was like, man, like, I think I worked at GNC in 2009 or and they still had like a bunch of like pro hormones and stuff they were selling, but that was like the okay ones to sell. And it's like, oh, but before that it was like the most toxic shit ever. And it's like you were saying, you stayed away from the supplements. Like, no, dude, you probably should have been taking those supplements.
I know.
Had your biggest records ever.
My brain was like, I'm taking the real shit. So why do I need the other shit that's supposed to be like
the supplements are probably even more real?
Well, right? They could have been back then. They could have been, and some of the things like the mini thins and dimethyltryptamine and the Jack 3D.
Yeah.
Pretty much just straight fucking amphetamine.
Yeah, amphetamines.
And they got fucking pulled.
Designer roids. And stuff like that.
Then all those
Patrick
got
Arnold's
pulled.
cocktails of. Isn't that the whole thing with Balco or whatever?
Yeah.
Was that Patrick Arnold or whatever?
Yeah.
And he was basically the one like making all the new supplements or whatever.
Concocted.
You're just straight from the Balco mastermind himself.
Yes. So for you, what's it been like getting involved on the other end of the supplement industry?
GNC?
No, because you have your own company now.
Oh, I see. Yeah, so I'm a co-owner, so I didn't start it, but yeah, Psycho Pharma. There we go. Yeah. So the reason that I have such a good relationship with them, first of all, they reached out to me, I think it was in 2019 or something, and I was just like, energy. I just want the strongest pre-workout. They had like a super strong pre-workout back then, so they would just send me stuff for free. And eventually, like WWE was like cracking down on third-party stuff. They didn't want anyone promoting any third-party brands because they had their like affiliation with like C4, anything else. It would go against contract and cost them a ton of money or whatever. So I was telling them like, I can't like promote your stuff at all. I mean, I'll keep like wearing your tank tops and taking your stuff. I love the pre-workout, and because people don't believe it, but in WWE you actually are drug tested because it's very hierarchy stuff. You know what I'm saying? You're in development, man. They couldn't care. They want reasons to fire you and all that. So I was always super skeptical about like what pre-workout I would take. I had to take like Walgreens shit and all that. And after a while, I just like stopped caring when I was already in development for like 4 years. And I just kept taking Psycho Pharma pre-workout. I never popped on anything. And fast forward now to today's day and age, and like we're getting stuff like third party tested and all that. And I'm like, dude, that's critical. You gotta announce that, because that's huge for anyone that's like an athlete. You know what I mean? Whether it's like competing like in powerlifting or college athletics or anything where you're drug tested, like, because the supplement industry is, as we're just talking about, they'll freaking spike anything they can. You know what I mean? So you can't, like, if you're actually drug tested, you can't just take any supplements you want. You know what I mean? Like, that shit can cost you your career, right?
So what in a pre-workout would fail a test?
Oh, well, a lot of, dude, all those pre-workouts like that are putting amphetamines and stuff like that. Like you're talking about like the Jack 3D and like, what was the other one? Craze. And there's a bunch of like hardcore pre-workouts still there, just chemical and nanomolecules or whatever the hell on the back. And even if they don't, like, it's just, like, there's just those pre-workouts that just kind of get you feeling cracked out. You know what I mean? You're going to fail for that shit for sure. It's like speed analogs.
So how do you avoid coming down from that, the pre-workout?
Coming down?
Yeah. So you just keep it going, like fucking IV it all day long?
No, I don't ever, I think as long, dude, I don't ever crash, you know what I'm saying? And I also don't really ever need to take breaks, you know what I mean? People are like, oh man, your caffeine intolerance, you're drinking too much. You should take a month off from coffee or something. And I've done it in the past. And I used to, when I was younger, I was less experienced and wise in this world. So I'm like, I probably should take a month off of caffeine and let myself, resensitize. And then you get right back and you just kind of get right back to where you were. You know what I mean? And coffee's one thing, but I guess it's just, I think, well, first of all, this pre-workout, Edge of Insanity, it's the main driver is just like, Yohimbe. So there's two different types, the alpha Yohimbe and the Yohimbe hydrochloride or whatever. And I've noticed, and that's why I've been such a big fan of it, is you don't get a intolerance to that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Caffeine, sure, you might get an intolerance to, but I guess it depends on what you take. But I think the Yohimbe is like the greatest thing you can take.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like it's like Lyle McDonald back in the day was talking about like a certain dosing protocol for burning stubborn body fat, and it's like supposedly enhances male erections. Like hell yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And as opposed to, I think it's well documented enough, not to go off on a sales pitch here or whatever, but I've looked up plenty of this shit too, because I always, if I'm taking something, I want to know exactly. I always want to look up the benefits of it,
Mm-hmm.
even if I'm taking freaking olive extract. Let me Google olive extract. You know what I mean? Like it's just stupid shit. But I want to know exactly what's doing it so I can have an ultimate placebo effect.
Yes, I was going to say that it helps with that.
For sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the Yohimbe, however the hell you pronounce it. Like there's like the study where they gave it to professional soccer players versus them not taking it, and the ones that were taking it like lost like 2% more body fat or something too. So it's like a great fat burner. You don't desensitize to it, and I mean, I'll still drink coffee just because I like the flavor and I like the placebo effect of it. I just drank a gallon of coffee. I should be feeling fired up.
And that's a placebo effect?
That's got to be a placebo effect.
Yeah, it has to be, right?
Yeah.
15 scoops of Insta
Yeah.
is a placebo effect, right?
Maybe the 15, not so much, but your typical cup of Joe, absolutely. But yeah, anytime I take the pre-workout, my wife's always like, "What did you take? What drugs are you on?"
When you look back,
babe.
to go back to the training, when you look back on your training, I talked about the stupid half-hour set bicep curls.
Yeah.
What are some of the memories that you have of some of the either stupid crap that you did or really just wicked fun
I've done
sessions
I've
that
done
you've
a lot
had?
of stupid shit. Yeah, I mean the stupidest shit was the thing that let my first knee explosion, which is, I have to give some of the blame to professional wrestling at that point. I'm pretty sure I had a partial tear in my meniscus already at that point from this knee bar I was put in the night before. But then I was trying to like Zercher like pin squat like 735 pounds or something, and my knee just exploded. And it was like, that was the dumbest. Why the frick? What exercise? Like, come on, brother. Like, there's a point where, go for broke intensity. You know what I mean? Like, freaking id or whatever.
Yeah.
But at the point, like, where you're tearing your ACL and meniscus, it's just fucking stupid.
Yeah. So what are some of the ones that aren't injury related?
The good times? Yeah. Oh, man. I mean, I've done a lot of workouts that are like 5 hours long. I would say my most enjoyable one was when I linked up with my brother, who left me a lot of trauma, childhood trauma. But I brought just a sandbag, just a 200-pound sandbag. And we're just in the backyard. And you basically, until the sun goes down, you just hoist it and just throw it. You know what I mean? Like, is that stupid? No. I think that's just building just extreme durability.
Was that to see who could last the longest?
Probably,
like
deep down, yeah, I'm sure it was. Like I was kind of a sicko like that. I got a job at UPS just so I could lift packages.
Was that what you thought it was going to be?
No, it wasn't. The packages weren't heavy enough. And you're just in a hot truck. Yeah, this sucks.
Was that when they had the 4-hour shifts?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
and I was doing the night shift. Yeah. Like 10 to 2 or some shit like that. It's horrible. So then I was like, okay, I'm going to work at this warehouse and move pallets all day, like a forklift operator, because you got to like load the pallets up with 50-pound Johnson & Johnson's cleaning products. And that was better. That was a bit of a workout, because you're doing that for, there's a lot of overtime on that job too. So like 10 to 12 hours. And I swear, yes, I was lifting on top of that, but I swear I went back the next year in college wrestling, and everyone thought I was on roids because I was just more like jacked. And what was the difference? I was scarfing down 5 hot dogs on a big gulp and working at a warehouse all day.
So getting back to the training sessions, right? So we have the sandbag one. Somehow we ended up in a warehouse, stacking pallets.
Because that's training.
Yeah,
bro.
I get it. There was a time I worked in, Sunny Delight orange juice.
Yeah.
Where I worked in the factory there, and I had the shit job of, pulling the 24 count small bottles and stacking them on the pallets. So that'd be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1.
Yeah.
And then you kind of circumvent. But that was just basically, they're not that heavy, but twisting, rotating, for hours.
You have just ripped striated obliques.
Yeah. I mean, it was, I'm sweating my ass off, and it was, I like that better.
Yeah.
Because I got promoted to like just watching the bottles go down. You had to like flick off the ones that didn't have any juice in it. That kind of sucked.
You got lazy though.
Yeah, I got lazy. Yeah. But the other one, so I get where you're coming from there, because I do think it helped my training.
For sure.
I
didn't know how to hip hinge back then either. So I was just all rounded back.
So like Jefferson deadlift.
Yeah, Jefferson curls or
yeah.
Jefferson curling pallets all day. Boxes.
Boxes all day. That worked. I can see that. So with the training sessions, though, go back to some of the other ones.
Well, it's hard to pinpoint specific ones, but like when I was in college, we would have morning strength and conditioning, and then we'd have afternoon practice, and then because I was just I don't know. I was just a bro back then. I just wanted to lift with my friend too. So then we'd go to the gym. So dude, I was working out every day, three sessions a day.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And that's why once I was done with college wrestling, I was like, dude, why would I need a day off if I'm only going to just lift weights once a day? That's another thing that really built up to, I guess, my character now, that I don't believe in the off days, because it's, maybe some people do need it. Maybe some people do, if they're that, like, their work capacity is that garbage. But it's like, we were talking about the 20 rep squats and all that, until you know how far you can go, and then you can peel back and go, wow, like this is peanuts.
Yeah.
But also, if you want to talk about, I would say probably one of the best with what you're referring to workouts was the first time. So there was Hurricane Irma in 2017. And my wife flew to Wisconsin with our daughter to evacuate. And I had to stay with the dog and the cat. And then everyone's like, you should evacuate. You got to get out of there, something. So I'm like, frick. Well, it's my first time in Florida, so I've never really experienced a hurricane. I'm like, I guess maybe the house will flood and I'll be like on the roof of the house. So Juji Mufu reached out to me a little bit earlier about linking up at some point. So I contacted him. I was like, hey, man, I'm trying to escape the hurricane. Can I link up with you? Because he's in North Carolina. And that was my first time meeting him. And that was kind of at the peak of like, all I did was just snap city deadlifts. And, but I was like, man, I gotta show out. So we did, I swear we did 5 different max out deadlift variations, all just spine ripping. Zercher deadlift off the floor, behind the back deadlift, in between the legs deadlift. Was there a couple? Shovel deadlift. I think there's one more. And after that first deadlift, you're maxing out when you're like Zercher deadlifting off the floor, your back is just fucked. But I was like, I can't embarrass myself. And then funny, because now I'm good friends with John, and he's like, man, I remember that workout too. Like, it'll forever be scarred. He's like, I didn't know. I thought you were pushing me. And I was like, well, I thought you were pushing me. Like, I didn't want to, you know what I mean? So it's just like the most chaotic, just destructive workout ever. And it must have been like, I would have to imagine it was over 5 hours.
Yeah. Any other ones like
just that? Just deadlifting.
Yeah. Well, the reason I ask this is because, a lot of us are told when we're coming up, that this weightlifting shit, is not going to get you anywhere.
Yeah.
But it then gets ingrained with some of the best memories that we have.
Oh, yeah.
When you think back, are all these, either injuries, right?
Yeah.
or it's sessions like that.
Yeah.
And those memories have value because they actually compound.
Yeah.
And what they're worth over the years.
Some of my best memories are just like lifting with my friends and lifting by myself too. But I remember when I lived in a duplex in Milwaukee, and there's this nice duplex. We were surprised we got it. Like, wow, they actually gave us the rental or whatever. And shortly after I moved, like you know, all these like machines in the basement, all the squat stuff. And this is where I'm really all into just as heavy maxing out as possible. And I got this giant, you know, I think times are different now with the Bluetooth speakers and stuff. This is where I had a big boom box, you know what I mean? With the two huge speakers, and you just crank that and the house would be shaking, and the deadlifts would be shaking the house and everything. And it was shortly after we moved in there, a bunch of those sessions where the neighbors are in the duplex, so they basically lived with us. They kept their mouths shut at first, I think, because they, you know, probably heard screaming and super loud. But eventually, you know, I got very disgruntled text message like, we're worried the foundation of the house is ruined and it's way too loud, you know, like all caps and stuff. I was like, God damn it, these assholes. Now looking back, because I've gotten older and I'm a homeowner myself, I'm like, okay, it makes a lot of sense. Like, they owned that part of the house.
Yeah.
And here you got these shithead kids just like so loud, but man, great times.
Mm-hmm.
Great times.
What about PRs that you've hit and that you remember?
Oh, geez. Well, I remember all of them for the most part. You don't forget those. Well, the most recent one, so I did a 772 pound conventional deadlift, and because I was kind of peaking towards it, I reached out to Juji Mufu and I was like, hey man, like I kind of want to fly to fly to your house, just because again, I like having people looking at me, you know, saying, sure, I could do it at a commercial gym, but one commercial gym banned me from deadlifting because they got it's this Crunch, this global gym. Mm-hmm. You can only use their giant red bumper plates, so you can only fit 5 per size. I'm like, yeah, but I'm on a platform. I'm like, yeah, but it's not about, it's we're just worried the foundation of the gym is gonna break. I'm like, dude, it's a platform that's meant for like Olympic lifting, and it's on top of gym flooring. It's like, what? How is this fucking gym made out of paper mache? Like, how's it gonna break from that? So they banned me from that, and then yeah, man. I mean, but that was great. That was recent too. Just nothing like it. It's just nothing like hitting just the biggest weight of your life. Just the euphoria that comes with it.
So how do you come up with
addicted to it.
The next movement? Right. So it's, the tsunami bar, the Zerchers and all that kind of shit. Are you just like flipping through fucking Instagram or TikTok and you see somebody do some horsecock type of shit and then think, I need to do that?
No. There's definitely a method to the madness. So like basically it's just degrees of variance, I guess. So like for the conventional, because I know I can hit a wall and plateau and stall. As anyone that knows, it's like hard to progress with these lifts. You can't just forever progress with them. But I found that doing Romanian deadlifts, and some people are like, oh, it's shitty form. Brother, however the form is, call it shitty. It has perfect carry. If I can Romanian deadlift in that form, I can conventional deadlift off the floor. And it's like, that's one of the things that solidifies it in my mind. It's like, if I can do it like that, then I can do it from the floor. So like a Romanian deadlift, but once that kind of fizzles out too, then the Romanian deadlift with the weight releasers or with some band tension, and then conventional deadlifts with like just shit tons of band tension, whereas the plates increase, the bands decrease, and just things like, there's a degree of variance to it. So it's like, you're gonna max out with this, and then this, and then this, and then this. And it's like, it's not too far, like you were saying, where you're adding so many different levels that it doesn't even have any carryover. Like Zercher squat, like, yeah, so that's what it was. So after I feel like I'm content for now, because I wanted to go for 800 deadlift, but like mentally, it's like I kind of need a break, because you can only hit so many. You know what I'm saying? You can only do so much, where it takes so much adrenaline and zip, or you know what I'm saying? It takes so much of that where it's like, okay, I don't know how much more I have in me, but the enthusiasm is withering. That's what it is. It's the enthusiasm is not quite the same as it was a month ago. So if I switch that up a little bit, and that's where like right now it's like Zercher squatting, because it's still a deadlift off the floor, and then it's a squat, right? Yeah. So I'm like, okay, that is the deadlift strength will carry over to that, and I have to believe that this deadlift off the floor and then the Zercher squat is still going to keep the deadlift strength pretty peaked, and then the shitty clean and the press, like the dynamic pull off the floor, it's like the speed work for the deadlift. And I've been doing a lot of tsunami bar pressing and weight releaser, seated overhead press and band resisted press and all that kind of stuff too. So it's like, that's just a perfect one to throw in there.
All right. So if I'm understanding this correctly, that leads into the next phase of trying to build the deadlift.
Yeah.
So you do have a method behind all this.
Yeah.
that regresses back through. Now with the overhead press, why the overhead press as opposed to a bench?
Why the overhead presses? I think that's just kind of what I want to pursue right now. I don't think there's any rhyme. It's basically like a deadlift progression and a press progression. So whether it's flat bench or incline or overhead press, I just feel like overhead press is more gratifying of a clean to a press and a big seated overhead press and just a strict press and a push press. And there's so many ways, whereas the bench is like, for the most part, because I feel like my incline doesn't carry over to my flat and my decline doesn't really carry over to my flat. Like, yeah, you could go neutral grip or something like that, or maybe weight releasers or band resisted, but I just.
All right, so if I'm looking into your,
I'll go to the press. I'll go to the bench for sure.
But if I'm looking into your philosophy, you can't peel back the bench the way you can peel back the strict overhead press. The way that the Zerchers and this RDLs kind of bleed into with that. So the bench actually becomes like an accessory for the overhead press.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
100%.
So the two main things are the deadlift and the overhead press.
Yeah, as of right now, for sure.
Yes. Yeah. So that's what your whole, not philosophy, but goals revolve around.
Yeah, and then like obviously once say we're conventional deadlifting and then we're going to a Romanian deadlift and then we're going to variations of the Romanian deadlift and maybe below the knee rack pull, and then we kind of, as we progress with all these, we kind of go back and progress with the conventional deadlift, because I find that I've the Romanian deadlift and the below the knee rack pull have perfect carryover, probably because I grip and rip. I use no leg. I just use all spine shattering pull. So they have great carryover. But once this is all totally zapped, then we're going to go this direction with a trap bar deadlift or a behind the back deadlift or something like that.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
It was a bit easier on the spine in a way. People wouldn't think so, but it is, because it's more in line with the midline of the body.
Yeah. Well, for you're not going to bend over as much.
Yeah, not for the trap bar.
With the trap bar.
But even like the behind the back deadlift, like it's in line with your hips. It's like terrible. Like your back has to round to do the lift, but it's surprisingly doesn't hurt your back.
So the last time we spoke, you were going to get the vocal pull thing.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
so
I got it.
How have you used that?
Oh, it's great.
Because I saw the one where you had it on backwards, right? And
but dude, that's great too.
Yeah.
And that's the power pull, man. Listen, I have no stake in this company or anything. I just saw it. I just thought it looked funny and I wanted to use it. But first of all, walking with it, I have to believe is one of the factors that led to me hitting deadlift PRs, because I've never felt like a pump. It's like a specific part of your back. It's not like your super low back. It's not like it's just like, it's in between like your mid and your low. It's just, but it isolates it in a way that nothing else. And I feel like it bulletproofs it, so that when I grip and rip those deadlifts and it's like stuck here off the floor, it doesn't round me over anymore. Like I'm locked in, and it's very unique. And I'm a huge fan of it. It's just hard to know. It's just hard to walk around. There's a place to walk with it. If I take it to the gym, I might get banned for life. You know what I'm saying? Like they're very tolerant of me right now, but I don't know once I have that giant shaft walking around the gym, like with sexual harassment or something for the people there. And then my neighborhood too. Like I'm already very loud and disturbing to the neighborhood side. I feel like, so I kind of with that, I'm like walking my backyard, but the grass is uneven and stuff too. So I got to fine tune that. I've tried doing just hip hinges with it. It's okay. I find that doing the walking is like the perfect movement with it. I guess that's what it was designed for anyways. And then I was like, oh, this is sick. Like I want to do deadlifts with it and I want to do squats with it while wearing it. It's a bit awkward. Maybe I haven't figured it quite out yet, but I tried it. It wasn't for me. But flipping it on back, because when it's in front, the plate kind of gets in the way. Like if you hip hinge, like no matter where it is, like the plate kind of, you can't bend any more than this. So like maybe Dimmel deadlift, is that?
Yeah.
Maybe you could do that. It's just the squatting's kind of strange, but I'll mess around with it still more. But when I flipped it around, I was like, holy shit. Now the only problem with that is you need a partner.
Yeah, somebody's gonna have to
put weights on yourself.
Yeah,
but if you have a partner that can put it on, because it's still like all that weight, you're still leg driving all that weight with the deadlift, but it's the only mechanism I know in this world that makes the lockout easier.
Our strength equipment is made in the USA. It's professional rated. We customize it to whatever your needs are. If it's just logoing to designing a completely brand new piece of equipment. The reason I got into the equipment game to begin with is a lot of the equipment I was looking for example, like a leg press, I couldn't use a wide enough stance to help build my squat out. So a lot of the equipment that we've come up with and that we've put out is built for that reason, because it wasn't on the market or it was built like crap in the first place and didn't have any carryover. So check out our website, elitefts.com, strength equipment, or get a hold of one of our strength equipment specialists who have been selling strength equipment for over a decade, as well as being coaches in the industry. Website, Top Toolbar Strength Equipment, or look for the rectangle on the front page that says Strength Equipment Specialist and click on that to speak to one of our specialists today. Oh yeah, because it's
it's like, it's just kind of pulling you back. I haven't gone too heavy with it yet, and I'm slapping myself because I've only gone up to like 70 pounds on there. Had my wife put it on, she was like slamming it on my spine. I said, "Damn, honey." And then Juji but we only did it with one plate. I'm hitting myself because I was like, man, why don't we put like 200 pounds there? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like really explosive and like a ton of leg drive. And I think it's the perfect tool for me because if you go to like if he's got the Instagram or something and you can pull it up. If you watch the way I deadlift, I just want to show you guys what I'm talking about.
Is it the third one?
Keep going. Go. All right, go up. Schnikes, I'm sorry, go down. There you go, right in the middle, the bottom right there. Nope, not that one. Middle on the bottom. Yeah, right there in the jean shorts. Yeah. You see that? You see how I just like explode?
Yeah.
And it kind of pauses. Okay. Well, yes, I could try to pull it smoother, but the thing is, like, again, I'm all about the the enthusiasm, the raw. So like, I'm at my strongest when I can just try to rip something, explode through it. So it's very hard for me to think about leg drive. Now, if I have this giant harness on my back with these plates that are pulling, I'm not going to be able to rip. So it almost forces me to have to push through, in which I'm going to be weaker when I do that versus when I just like blow through it. But I mean, I've never seen this done before.
Yeah, go back to his Instagram again.
I've never seen that done before. Have you seen?
No. Go to the third one from the right at the very top.
Yeah, you see what I'm talking about. No, at the top of the page.
So that one there.
Yeah. And this is with a ton of band tension on to warm up. That's peanut wet. Oh yeah, throw the harness on.
It's copyright music. Yeah.
No, it's not actually.
Oh, really?
It's not. No, I'm very methodical. That's classic glam metal version of Pantera. Yeah. So, anyways, with the harness on. What did you want to see, Dave?
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, it's just like it's a new variation. Now, unfortunately for people, they have to,
have
spend the
cash.
Yeah. On the power pull.
Mm-hmm.
But like for a gym, if they have one, it's just a totally new, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like, cause every lift, chains, bands, all that, it gets harder at the top.
Yes.
Easier out the floor, hard on the top. Here you got freaking harder on the floor, easier on the top. What a perfect thing to throw in your training.
Yeah.
My God.
I know. But what I wonder there is you're not getting in the good lengthened position.
Yeah.
For that muscle hypertrophy.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah. Yeah, well, that's what they would say, but from my experience, it doesn't matter. How much more muscle hypertrophy does one human even want?
Well, now there is a big question.
Yeah, there's a point there because, like, I feel like most people that are looking at this hypertrophy and all that, it's like, you guys, you're looking at superhumans. You're looking, you know what I'm saying? You're looking at bodybuilders. everyone knows for the most part, like even the old like natural body. I'm not saying there's not natural bodybuilders, but these are all superhuman, right? So when you got an average Joe, you know what I mean, like a 16-year-old or something like that, you're not gonna look like that no matter what you do. Right. And from my experience with training like college wrestlers, like in the weight room and stuff too, dude, they all almost got too big just from getting strong with squats and deadlifts. And I almost say too big because they all have weight classes to make. Like you're going to build a lot of muscle getting strong. I'm sure like you were around probably a lot of people like that were just didn't train with a ton of reps, but like huge loads, and they're probably just like some of the thickest humans you've ever met in your life, right?
Oh, especially when you're dealing with weight classes and power lifters.
Yeah.
You know, they start to get to the limit of that class.
Yeah.
You know, and like wrestlers, they're going to cut.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
so you already got to cut. But if they're cutting 15, 18 pounds, you know, but then they put on 3 more pounds of lean body mass. Now that 15, 18 pounds becomes 20, 21 pounds.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then it starts to suck their strength.
For sure. For
you
sure.
know, so it, that's when they know to go up a weight class. But a lot of times world records and shit like that are on the line. They can't go up that weight class.
Yeah.
So they got to be really, really methodical on what they're doing. So they kind of don't put on that lean body mass, assuming that they're lean to begin with, and all the other wrestlers run into the same thing.
For sure.
You know, it's a tough battle.
Yeah.
You know, with that. But it is also cool when they do go up a class because then they don't have to fight it anymore.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And you feel so much better. You might be undersized, but you're like stronger than ever. And it's
well, I think we kind of saw that with McGregor in a way, right?
Yeah.
Because after he got hurt, he puts on like 30 pounds.
Yeah.
And, you know, drugs are not drugs. Set that aside.
For sure. Yeah, of course.
The guy's been cutting weight and trying to keep a weight class for years.
Yes.
And now he has this long period of time.
Yeah. And your body's just going to build as much as it can because it's used to this like emaciated state.
Well, who's to say it wasn't there to begin with? Like a lot of it, then it just got dieted off at the very end.
True. Yeah.
You know, so it wasn't the 30 pounds that he put on. Probably already had half of it. Yeah. You know, to begin with.
For sure.
You know, and that happens with those weight class type things.
Yeah.
But to most people, when you put out there, you know, there's too much hypertrophy. Yeah. I don't believe anybody's going to buy that shit because most people, you know what I'm saying?
I know, but I'm just saying the techniques used. Yeah. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, so you're looking at those lifts. It's funny. People are going to look at that and say, like, that's not doing anything. It's not building any muscle. And I couldn't disagree more just because I've literally lived it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I told you from when I was like, 4th year to 5th year in college, the only difference was I just started training like that more so and added like 10 pounds, over 10 pounds. So and then it starts to think like, my goodness, like, is there more to building muscle than just reps and shit? Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like maybe the physiology is very complex.
Have you found as you gotten older, it's harder to recover from those things?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I'm glad you brought that up because my methods used to be different. I used to just pick one lift and just do that every single day. And I found that my nervous system became more efficient and it was fun because it was like, I just did X amount of weight. I'm going to do X amount of weight plus 5 pounds the next day. And I was like, super like fired up and enthusiastic to do it. And I've gone back to that now that I'm older and it's like, fuck, I can't. I just am weaker. I'm just, you know what I mean? I can't recover like I used to. So of course.
So how have you changed things then?
Well, before I used to just pick a lift and I would just do that every day for like a couple of weeks and I would put crazy amount of added strength to that weird variation or whatever. Now it's just basically a deadlift variation, a press variation, and then if I need an extra day or whatever, it might be some pencil neck pump shit is my off day or just something like dynamic. A massive kettlebell swing or something.
Yeah,
exactly.
So the and the it's a balance of
those
all
are
that.
That stuff's called on the fly.
Yes. Yeah. Well, it's balancing the ahs, right? With the yas.
Yeah. I'm still, you know, it's a never ending process. All right. I'm sure like 10 years from now, I'll be like, I can only deadlift once a week or whatever, every 2 weeks. Right. How about for you?
I hate for the fucking deadlift.
Yeah. What about like for your
the heavier stuff? It's getting to a point now with the really, really hard stuff twice a month.
Okay.
Which I hate. Yeah. You know, where
you want to do
once
it more
a week.
Often, yeah.
You know, once a week would be that.
So it's funny because like the kid, when you're young, you can do that shit every single day. Yeah. And I feel like my whole point is this whole conversation is just a big circle, which I love it. That's why these kids, they should be doing it, I think. Because we're saying you build these habits, you build your freaking experience in the trenches, and then as you get older, when you can't do it anymore, you don't do it anymore.
Well, I think too, you also understand when you have to peel back.
Yeah.
Because you've gone hard so much that you know this needs to be peeled back a little bit, maybe not much. Maybe I'm just being a puss about the whole thing.
Yeah.
Or this really needs to be peeled back. You know, because you have the experience of doing it hundreds of fucking times before, that you kind of find that balance. And then there's the stupid shit that has to go in to be able to recover from the main shit.
Yes.
You know, so the GPP bodybuilding, walking with a fucking vocal pole.
Yeah.
You know, crap like that, which younger, you're like, oh, this is stupid.
Yeah.
Older, it's like, if I need to do this, if I want to be able to do this other crap, which I don't like this. You know, so I think a lot of it, from what I've seen, becomes conditioning based. You know, as somebody gets older, as I watch lifters get older and older, they start to lose a little bit of their conditioning. Yeah. You know, just basic cardiovascular fitness and so forth. And then that compromises their ability to recover.
That makes sense.
So then they start changing, you know, all the training variables, which they may have to do anyhow. Yeah. But what they probably need to do is to keep the cardiovascular fitness.
Push the sled a little bit.
Yeah, do something. Yeah. You know, to be able to kind of maintain that. Where when you're younger, that's the last thing you're worried about because you're doing other sports.
That's very true. You know, you're forced to do a lot of conditioning stuff. Yeah.
And you're not laying around, hanging out, just working at a computer and doing all this other kind of shit as much as you were before.
You're riding a bike.
Working in a warehouse, you know, whatever it's going to be. Something's kind of keeping that up.
Yes.
Where it would be akin to, I think a lot of football, NFL players, they call it lose a step. I don't know if they really lose a step. I think they're so, as they're going through college, everything's so regimented. Yeah. They're training, and then they're out on their own. Yep. And it's not as regimented. So they slowly decondition.
You're right. 100% you're right.
3 or 4 years, then they lose a step. Yep. I don't know if that's really true. I think they lost the condition. I think you're
spot on, man. Yeah, because like the football players that I knew, like in college, like you're right. It's just their every day. It just revolves around their schedule. You would never do that stuff on your own. Yeah. Right. Wake up. I think they had like the weight room at like 6 in the morning or something like that. Wake up at 5 a.m. Weight room. They got watch tape or whatever. They practice like their meals, like the dining hall or whatever. Everything like that. Study hour, study hall or whatever. Like. Yes.
Yeah, all of it. Yeah. There's no free time. No. Like maybe an hour of free time here and there. Yeah. You know, where you flip it, they get it in the real world, they get a job, it's all free time. Yep. Then they got to kind of figure it all out.
Yeah, you're right. 100%.
So
I'm just out of shape.
Maybe. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You don't know. That's a tricky one though, because if you're trying to put on muscle, and you're trying to put on weight, that kind of comes with that territory. Yeah. Where if you want to go up 20 more pounds, say when the Arnold comes back around again, you're going to want to get bigger.
Scarf some PB&Js. That's what you do. Yeah.
Right. So then.
No, dude, I'm happy. I don't want to be bigger. Yeah. I've been bigger, as you know, or as we talked about before, when you were heavier and stuff too. It's not fun.
No, it sucks.
Yeah, and I don't feel like it helped me at all. And when you're trying to get big, you look in the mirror and you convince yourself, like, oh, I'm looking jacked. And then when you kind of like, all right, I'm done just scarfing down 1,000 calories of carbohydrates in the workout or whatever. I don't want my sleep apnea to be as bad and all that. And then you look back and you're like, dude, I kind of look like shit too. And my strength wasn't even that much better. I feel, you know what I'm saying? Like, I guess like the bigger you get, like your bench and your squat might feel a bit better, but like my deadlift's gotten stronger with the lighter, right? As it
leverages. Yeah.
So it's just like, those are the main lifts I care about anyways too. Like what you know what I'm saying? Like I don't want to gain any more weight. I'm happy. Yeah. I'm content.
Yes. What about losing weight?
I don't want to lose weight. I mean, if I could keep my strength, I would. But I guess that's probably the reason that I was resistant to losing weight in the first place when I was trying to bulk so much. I thought I would lose my strength. But I don't know. I guess if you keep on horsecocking to the max abilities, then you probably won't lose too much because it's like you're so on top of it, you know?
What do you think the next trend's going to be? Because you've been around for a while, and a lot of these things kind of come and go.
I think the next trend's going to be horsecocking. I do. Because I look at all the comments and stuff, and a lot of these science-based channels, and it's like 50-50. A lot of people are like, just fucking lift, just train hard. And like a lot of people are like, love like Sam Sulik because he'll just like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Pump out reps. And yeah. And I feel like I kind of have my place at the table a little bit where it's, you know, it's not a huge place at the table, but it's a little bit where people are like, fuck it. I want to do that. That's cool.
So if there were 3 main rules
Yeah.
to the horse cocking,
Yeah.
what are the 3 main rules?
You gotta go heavy. Your form has to break down to a degree. Otherwise you're not horse cocking. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like if you have perfect form, that means you have a lot more in the tank. So when how do you know what the ceiling is if you're not reaching the breakdown in form, right? Your form is like breaking down because you're reaching your freaking max.
Yeah.
So when you have perfect reps, then it's like you call the set there. It's like you probably had 5 more in you, right? You had your form just break down a little bit more. So that's 2. And then 3rd one would be zero control in the movement.
What do you mean?
Like, no, I said that totally wrong. It's not zero control, you know, but you know how everything's like so controlled.
Yeah.
I think, and I'm not against it. I'm all for it. And I say it all the time, like warm ups and stuff, like I'll do like an empty bar and let's just hold, you pause it and same thing. But as you get to the big weights, we got to, you know, control it, but just fucking crank it. So whatever squats or bench or any of that kind of stuff, shoulder press, right? I think if you're going very slow, I don't know if I can consider that horse cocking. It's got explosive.
So you need to be explosive.
Yes,
You need to be explosive.
that's I hope I didn't say that wrong. Where people are like, what
generate
the fuck are you
force.
talking about?
So train heavy.
Yes.
Yeah, train heavy, and use explosive force.
Yes.
And then let the form break down for a
To
few
an extent.
reps.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. So those are the 3 main rules.
You're great at like helping define this stuff. I'm like,
well, you need to know
I
it.
don't know, man.
I mean, if you're gonna lead this tribe, you need to know what the fuck to say.
Explosive force, yes. That's a perfect way to put it. I said like an absolute blubbering idiot. Oh, no control.
Yeah.
Yeah, explosive for sure.
All right. So then on the nutritional side of it, what would it be?
For horse cocking?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think that matters. I think, okay, if you want to be peaked horse cock, it's just because I get that people don't want to, like, some people want to be lean still, but I feel like, I don't know. I guess that it would have to have the antithesis of what it is, and that's like the main gaining thing. I think that's just a load of shit.
So that you have to be fueled to be able to do the training. That's it.
Yeah. Where the people are like build muscle. You can build muscle with maintenance or whatever over time or something. And I'm not saying you can't, but I'm just saying like it's just like with striving to daily goals to hit something. Yes, you got to fuel the freaking workouts, man. Some days you're going to feel like shit or whatever. So people are having like that's the whole thing with the daily calorie intake. Oh, this is how many calories I need. What, bro, there's no defined number. If you're lifting freaking pallets and you know what I'm saying, you're doing that for all day. And then you're going to explosively horse giant weights too. You think your intake's not going to be different every single day? Like, so many things are just instinctual. Like when you get in the gym, you might have an idea of what you want to do, but until you start feeling like, don't just do something. If you have the idea, do what's calling out to you. Like for me, if I was going to do, I'm trying to think of like, just this past weekend, so I had some ideas. I wrote down a list of like a grocery list of these are kind of things I want, and I kind of start moving and like, no, boom, tsunami, clean and jerk or clean and press. You know what I mean? But it also could have been, overhead press, or it could have been eccentric hooks or something, but you got to do what's like, that's fun. I want to do that.
So you're kind of
it's fun. You're going to be enthusiastic.
So you're kind of planning this out like a week ahead of time.
Well, I always plan stuff the day before, and my wife's always like, well, I don't even know why you bother. Like, you don't ever do what you plan anyways. Yes, but what I plan is providing me the freaking bones to have this vision, this goal in my head, and then we'll adjust on the fly, right? It's like a game plan for a team. Like, you have an idea of what you want to do, but it's not going to work out perfectly. You got to adjust.
Well, I think that's also part of the horse cocking, right? Is
Yeah.
the ability to, I call it auto-regulate your
Yes,
training.
auto-regulate, yeah.
Right? So
yeah.
you have that, which that's tough to do if you have this program laid out for 12 weeks.
Hell yeah,
then everything's in there.
That's like people with the days off then too. I said, like, listen, you're going to take days off because you need a day off, but you might go in the gym the next day and feel like shit, and then you had a day off and you had a shitty day as well. Whereas if you're going to the gym every single day, you might feel like shit this day, but then the next day you might feel fucking great. And then that day you feel great. If that was supposed to be your day off, now you're double whammy.
Yeah.
So just go, auto-regulate, instinctual.
All right. So now we're getting closer to a full definition
Yes.
of the horse cocking program, right? Because that also will take care of the recovery.
Yeah.
Right. Because if you're not recovering to be able to do it, then you're going to know you're going to have to peel something back.
Sure. Yeah.
From all that. And then the mindset's already, it's just mindset.
Yes.
Because we can't define that.
It's not definable. Yeah.
You know, let's say it is.
Yeah.
Because if you have to train every day, there's the consistency part of all that. But then there's the other part of the mindset of the arousal that you need for the top sets.
Hell yeah.
Right?
Yes.
So it's two-pronged, because when people think of mindset...
Well, so there's so many factors to it.
Yeah, because the goal setting is where it all starts, right?
Yeah.
But then people will see mindset and they think that's only how you approach the big weights. But that's just the kind of the peak of the whole thing.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. That's the climax.
It's all of it, but all these other things have to be layered before that can actually happen.
Yeah.
Which is part of the whole horse cocking thing too.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yes.
So
it's like a Christmas tree. Like we have these factors that are all leading up to the
star.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So which is what it is.
Yeah.
Any horse cocking philosophies that got left out? Because you see the comments.
Yeah.
That people come in.
What's the point? I get that comment a lot. So when Jujimufu was in my garage, blistering heat, we did these like 6-hour workouts. One of the things I wanted to do, because it'd be funny, but at the same time, don't tell me there's no freaking point. I was like, I have this shitty hip thrust machine. You know, pull up the Instagram.
Yeah. That was the yup one.
The yup one.
What's up?
Pull his Instagram up. I think it's the hip thrust.
It's the hip thrust tsunami bar press. Okay, right there in the middle. Yeah. No, yeah, there you go. Okay, see how I have a hip thrust strapped to my hips? So it starts with like an incline press. Yes. Yeah. But an incline press is substantially harder than a flat press. So you're putting weight on there that naturally you're going to want to shoot your hips up. You got to make this shit heavy. But if you're going to shoot your hips up, you're going to have additional force. Okay? I also think that this is brilliant. I feel like every bench at the commercial gyms should have a hip thrust mechanism in it too. Because you know how people naturally, once it gets heavy, they're going to lift their hips.
Yeah.
And hey, I'm not listen, people need to understand that, yes, in powerlifting, you don't want your butt to leave the bench. Okay? Yes, that's in powerlifting. What about in the fucking real world? Do you think it matters for football or for wrestling if when you're benching, your butt comes off the bench? I'd argue that you want your fucking butt to come off the bench. You're just getting more total body stimulus. So my point is, let's load that as well. So I'll get these comments once in a blue moon on my videos. Well, what's the point? Brother, what's the point, dude? Like, okay. You got a heavy ass press. You got heavy ass hip thrust. You got freaking total body proprioception and awareness. Like, I have to press this, not decapitate myself with this tsunami bar, but at the same time, freaking, there's a lot going on. It's total body awareness. Does it look silly? Hell yeah, it does. Did I do it because it was funny? Yes. But I still think it has a lot of merit. And I think that's like what I'm saying. If we can freaking get a machine like that designed, if you guys would design it, that would be pretty damn cool. I would love to see that.
How long does it take to set that up?
Well, that took a long time because but it's not because of the setup itself. It's because I got all these shitty mats and the hip thrust machine's kind of piece of shit. So it's like tipping and stuff too. So you know what I mean? But that has nothing to do. If you had a good hip thrust in here and you just put your hip thrust right there in the monolift or something. Even better. Right? Move the hooks. Right? Go down. Drive those hips. Substantial freaking. I mean, you're telling me that's not going to strengthen everything? That's going to strengthen your bench. It's going to strengthen your deadlift.
Go back to the video again, because where are your shoulders at? Because are you on a regular bench?
No, that's a hip thrust.
All right.
That's a hip thrust machine.
Yeah, I know, but your shoulder's got to be stabilized on something.
Oh, yeah. It's They're on the hip thrust.
Okay. Oh, I get what you're doing now.
Yeah.
I get it.
Oh, what did you think was happening?
I thought it was an incline press.
Oh.
But then you had the hip thrust.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Attached to that somehow to where I get it now. So your shoulders are fully rotating on that thing too.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's not a flat pad, it's rounded.
Yeah.
Or kind of rounded.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like
angled. It's angled.
Yeah, it's like a normal bench press.
Yeah. No, I get what you're saying now.
Yeah. It's just a movable bench press with hip resistance.
And so where does this idea come from?
Dude, I just I think I'm a creative person, right? Artist in a sense, and I want to horse the biggest loads possible, but I want to do it in a manner that's fun a lot of times too. So it's just like, what can we get the most bang for our buck with, right? But at the same time, that's not a total stupid meme that's waste of time bullshit.
I know, but I don't know. Are you doing hip thrust one day and you think, what if I could press while I'm doing this?
I bought that hip thrust before hip thrusts were cool.
Yeah.
Because I like to, I'm a nerd when it comes to training stuff. So it's like, oh, the hip thrust. No gyms have hip thrusts. It's just funny now because every gym has like 5 hip thrusts now. But as they were all way too expensive for my shitty garage gym. So that one was like a, home gym version. Yeah. So I bought that at the time and I was like, man, this thing's stupid because that's not the hip thrust. For the most part, you can't horsecock on a hip thrust. Do you get what I'm saying? Yeah, you can't. So I was like, I need to get some value out of this. It's like, what if I bench with it? And there's the value.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to see how those two variables come together.
Yeah.
With that.
It could be a total body. That's a total body day right there. That's
so anything that can be moved into a total body movement.
Yeah, the more muscles, the better.
Right.
Call me old school, man. Yeah. Dinosaur training.
Yeah.
The more muscles, the better.
Well, that's another variable.
Yeah.
That gets put into defining.
Yeah, use every muscle in your body.
For every lift. Right?
So, yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. I mean, when you guys were doing the side raises out here, partner assisted side raises with 80-pound dumbbells.
Yep.
Right? It becomes a total body movement.
Yeah. Have you ever done a dip before where you put sandbags? And I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. Or I guess you can do the same thing with pull-ups. But here, and you got here, and you got to put a partner, put weights on your legs, right? And you got just a hamstring cramp.
Yeah.
Is it going to this is just pissing off the bodybuilding fans, right? Oh, you need rest. I don't think you do to an extent. Dude, I've listened to people for the most part, and don't get it twisted, guys. I mean, I'm not saying you don't need rest, but it's case by case. People are like, man, you got to take a week off. You're going to feel so good. Dude, I've many times taken a week off, and I've come back feeling so weak and awful. It's like, what the fuck happened to my recovery? You know what I mean? And maybe we're all different, unique organisms, but I feel better moving. Not to say you can't move on your days off, but I need this to thrive. I'm sure you agree.
Yeah.
If you just sit around and rest, how do you feel when you come back? Do you feel good or do you feel bad?
Depends what I'm doing the next day.
Yeah.
If I'm squatting heavy, I'll feel good.
Really?
Because I'm rested because of that. But that's assuming other things are being done.
Yeah.
Moving around, walking, shit like that.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say, but other things aren't being done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then I fucking feel like shit.
Yeah.
I go long enough. If I'm out for 2 weeks, then everything starts to fucking hurt.
Yeah. Yeah.
Vacation's going to be a nightmare.
Yeah, vacation. Absolutely. It's always that. It's as I go on vacation, I'll take this as a forced recovery, and you just feel so bad every coming back, at least in my experience.
For me, it's my back would just light up. And it's as soon as I know I can squat heavy, that all goes away.
Yeah.
And it does every single time. Now, if it's too long, then everything fucking hurts.
Yeah.
You
just break down.
Yeah.
Your body's like, all right, I don't need to be just a freaking stout specimen anymore. Let's start to wither away.
Yes. Which you don't want to do, because that's the opposite of the whole horse-cocking thing.
Exactly.
Any other topics you wanted to cover I didn't bring up? We got eccentric hook. We got fat grips. We didn't talk about that.
Oh, yeah. That's a funny thing, too. Yeah. The fat grips, I've gone through so many phases where I'll put them on for everything. And I'm like, damn, like this is helping my tendonitis or whatever if I get overused stuff. It doesn't seem to hamper my pull-ups too much, like throwing them on for my warm-up sets of deadlifts too. And then like I'll just kind of stop using them for months. And anytime I ever go back to doing, why do I ever stop using these? Like, it's just such a, I don't know your take on fat grip implements, but it's just like, why wouldn't you use it? And I know like a lot of dumbbells at the gyms, like they're skinny. Why aren't the dumbbells? Why don't they just make dumbbells just thick?
I think somebody did for a while, but they didn't sell.
I bet they didn't sell. Yeah, everyone wants the easy route. But the thing is, like, you'll adapt, and your hands will get freaking strong, and your forearms will get bigger.
Yeah,
and
well,
it's
you
such
can't.
An easy adjustment.
Well, a lot of times you can't use as much weight.
Yes, yeah, but that's the beautiful thing about just putting them on. You know what I'm saying? And it's kind of like a nervous system primer in my experience too. So you leave curls with them, and you'll take them off, and then you can go up 20 pounds on the dumbbells. Like, holy shit, like this feels way easier than I was expecting it. You know, if you're doing like 60 pound with fat grip dumbbell curl, you can go up to the 80s afterwards. Like, damn, it's a lot easier than I was expecting because these freaking hands are turned on. And it's just like all these tricks. Like, I think the greatest thing ever is the freaking tricks, manipulating the mindset, nervous system techniques. Like, that's why I like when I'm deadlifting, I like to use tons of band tension. So like I'll have like 8 bands on for one plate because I'll always look at the weights. I don't know if we talked about this, but I hope we didn't because I want this to be fresh in your mind. I would, 1 plate, 2 plates with 8 bands, and then 3 plates, and it's like, fuck, it's like, why is it so heavy? It's only 3 plates. But because like I know the band tension is there, but like subconsciously you only see 3 plates.
Yes.
And I feel like it doesn't work the same for like resistance or reverse bands for me. I know it probably depends on people's mindset, but like for me, I'll have a ton of plates on and I'll have the reverse bands and I'll know it's supposed to be easier, but I'm still like, again, subconsciously I'm looking at all those plates. I'm like, holy shit, like this is gonna be heavy. Where it's like it's a total opposite effect. So I'll get up to like 5 plates, 6 plates, and like 4 resistance bands on. It's like a fucking grinder, but you push through and you grind it out because like, damn, it's only 5 plates.
Yeah.
You know? But then you take all those bands off and it fucking flies up. You're like, oh my God, man. Yeah, it's that kind of stuff. It's just making it ultra hard handles to grip. You're like, why the fuck? These are only 40-pound dumbbells. Why is this so hard?
Yeah.
And again, you know it, but it's like, but again, I know you know why it's hard, but we got our consciousness, our subconsciousness, and our super subconsciousness. So it's like
super subconsciousness.
Yeah,
so
it's really deep down.
So what is that?
That's the shit you can't even tap into. So like when you're doing that 5-plate deadlift, but you got all those bands on it, super subconscious, like it's 5 plates, man. What the hell? So you grind it out.
So if you can't tap into it, then what's the point of knowing it?
The super subconscious?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's getting philosophical now. So the shit that you can't tap into, but you know it's there, but someday maybe you will.
Well, I don't know if you, I guess. I don't know.
It's the ultimate goal.
Yeah, I suppose. But it's just, it's tricking yourself like that. I'm sure there's a million other things. Oh, weight releasers. Fuck, man. I'm glad you brought all this up. This is like my favorite thing to talk about, especially with a seasoned, experienced horsecocker like yourself. Man, like, did you guys use those a lot?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I have owned those for 5 years, I would say. And I probably gave them a good run for a few months and I just never saw them again. I don't know. I buried in my junk in my garage and I just busted those out a few months ago. And I couldn't even believe like the strength boost. Why the frick aren't people using these more? Like, dude, for instance, if I do like a seated overhead press, it's like 315. It's like, it feels pretty heavy. But then I like got this whole setup with the weight releases, and it's fine tuning it, man. I almost broke the giant mirror in the Globo gym when I was using them for a standing press. I bought it, I brought it down, and I didn't have the plyo boxes perfectly, and the hooks fell and like that far from smashing the mirror. I was like, oh my God. That would have been a nightmare. You know, those giant $20,000 mirrors. Yeah. It would be a good video for sure. I lucked out there. So after that happened, I was like, okay, It doesn't work well for standing because you're too tall. So doing the seated one and then a plyo box is perfect. So my point is 315 feels pretty heavy, but when you have those hooks on, and it doesn't even matter if people are like, oh, you just got to try to adjust those hooks so that you can get all the way on the bottom and then they fall off. It's like, it doesn't fucking matter, man. What matters is that you're picking it up like 380 some pounds or whatever, and just, you know what I mean? Like, you're just locked in. Even if they fall off here, once those hooks go, it's like, oh shit. 315 is like, how is that so light? I've had that happen so many, for all the pressing and for the Romanian deadlifts, it works awesome too. It almost feels like it's cheating. I'm like, how is this possible? Damn. Why is this not a more popular tool? What's wrong with people?
Yeah. We would use them for, God, we use them all different kinds of ways. The one way I remember is there were bands, there were weight releasers, and then there were chains.
Good
and
Lord.
It was a fuckload of weight at the top.
Yeah.
And somehow or another we had it so the chains came off too. I think maybe we pulled them off.
Oh, okay.
Right, because what we were trying to do is with the weight releasers and a strength curve, that weight never really changes.
Yeah.
So if it's a bench, it might be 120% here, but down here it's like 180 or whatever.
People don't realize that in the comment section. You're like, just use bad. It's like, you fucking idiot.
Yeah. So it's, and for years I've been trying to figure out how to make chain releasers, so then it would accommodate, as you're going down, but then you could overload even more at the top.
Oh, nice.
And that was a fucked up phase that basically trashed all of us because it was so much more at the top. It was like 200% at the top. It was fucking ridiculous.
Christ.
And the only reason,
2,000 pounds.
The only reason I remember this is Louis went to do a seminar like the week after that, and he's trying to explain to these college kids.
Yeah.
They're probably junior exercise science kids.
Gotcha.
This whole phase and how he's laying it all out with the bands and the chains and the weight releasers. And I'm sitting there the whole time thinking, these kids don't even know what a fucking box squat is.
Yeah.
Right. And you're laying out this elaborate fucking training phase that we're going through. Yeah. And they might not even know what a squat is.
Yeah.
But you're talking about box squat with weight releasers and accommodating resistance and overspeed eccentrics and all this other kind of shit. And like, oh fuck. And they're sleeping, they're not paying attention and all this other kind of shit.
Shame on them, my God.
But and we used them for bench a lot, so we used them quite a bit. But it was one of those things to where you forget about them.
I know. You just forget. It's like, why in the fuck? But why do you ever forget? They're so great for anything. I see value in anything you do. Imagine like a skull crusher. Oh, fuck. Bang it out. Like, whether it's like helping you push a 1 rep max or whatever, or whether it's just fucking, I do that as well, where it's like 500 pounds and then 200 pounds comes off and you just fucking pump them.
Yes.
Dude, there's so many great ways.
One of the other things that we would do that's kind of like that is partner assisted.
Yeah.
So your training partner would push down.
Okay.
On the way down on the first, rep. And, after that.
Then you can't see the numbers.
No, you can't.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a little more dicey. You just feel
it's really hard, man.
Yeah. You don't really know.
Yeah.
From that. Right. And you don't. And some people be a dick and push them really fucking hard. So there's too many variables. It's not really that trackable. So with the eccentric hook, fat bricks, band tension, we talked about that. Yeah. So the bands, you're not a fan of the reverse bands because of the
but only because of that. The bands, they work the same basically, regardless of however you set them up. But the mindset, it's seeing the small weights on there because I used to avoid it. I'm like, it doesn't look impressive. Why would I use band resistance if I use band assistance? But as I got older and wiser, I'm like,
because it looks.
I want to believe that this is pencil neck weight, so that when it's crushing me, I'm like, why the fuck? And I won't quit.
So would that play into using kilo plates instead? Because the reds are 55 pounds, and 3 plates on there is not 315.
Yeah, I mean, probably for some people, because I think I saw a video of someone. I don't have kilo plates in any gym. I go to shitty global gyms for the most part. But I did see a video of somebody that, and this is like, this was just an absolute jabroni. It was a nobody. But it doesn't change the point of what I'm saying, that they thought they were using I thought they were 45s and they turned out to be 55s and they hit a PR. It's like, well, no shit, man, because you believed that it was a weight that you already knew you could do.
Well, yeah, I mean,
that's what I'm saying. Like,
I mean, if it's 4 reds, that's fucking 80 pounds more.
Yeah,
on a
PR.
Yeah.
You're like, why the fuck? And then you look and you say, oh, that's 55. Oh man, that's a 20-pound PR I just hit.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's just ways to tap into that. Man, it's like it's almost such a cliche and so corny now, but I always got to think back to the fucking grandma just, bicep curling the car off the grandchild or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
So how to tap into that.
Yeah.
And like, that's that super thing that you were talking about. The super ego.
Oh, yeah.
Or whatever the fuck it was.
Super subconscious.
Yeah, the super subconscious.
Yes. Like it's there. How do you get to it? Like a gorilla can deadlift like 10,000 pounds. You know what I'm saying? Like, now, yeah, their physiology is a bit different, but I also think it's just like, it's our intelligence that holds us back. The body's like, why the hell am I going to deadlift? Why am I going to lift this? I'm going to just rip every fucking, tendon off the bone. I'm not going to lift this. But if you can trick yourself, like by having heavier weights on, then you think it's whatever, you're like 315 or whatever, but it ends up being whatever that would be, 75.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you're like, 350, this is 315. What the fuck? And it's like you hit a rep PR, like, oh my God. Yeah. Like it's like what you're talking about, pushing yourself. Like you could like, if you were by yourself, you're like, oh yeah, I think I'm pretty fatigued. I don't think I have any more in me. Or if it's like do or die, you have double in you.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're going to run with a 45-pound plate for a mile and be like, oh, I'm gassed. But when you have to, and everyone else is doing it, it's like, you're getting fucking 5 miles. And this is real life. This actually happened. The college wrestling team did that, and a kid died. Like, you can push yourself to the point of dying. It's not a good thing. You know what I'm saying? It's not a good thing, but I'm just saying it's a possibility.
Yeah. Which means there's a big gap.
Yeah.
Between what most people are doing and what they should be doing.
Yeah.
And that falls into the horsecock philosophy as well. Let's close that gap.
Yes, absolutely.
We're writing an ebook right here.
Yeah, right. It's each chapter for sure.
Yeah. Any other topics you wanted to go over I didn't bring up?
I don't know. Did I say anything else? I mean, I can talk about anything. You know what I mean? Like whatever. What else?
All right. So what is anything?
Well,
well, you said you could talk about it, right?
Sleep. Let's talk about sleep. Do you feel like you've had to have many moments where you slept for 10 hours and then other times where you got 4 hours of sleep? Do you feel like it ever truly impacted your performance? Do you feel like, obviously you probably felt a little groggy and grumpy and cranky on less sleep, but I think I read something on T Nation or something way back in the day. It's like, I felt like shit and my training took a hit, but eventually I just kind of adapted to less sleep. And I'm not saying I'm not advocating for people to get less sleep. I am genuinely curious because back when I was like, didn't have a daughter and stuff like that, I was like, I need 9 hours of sleep, and then 9 turned into 8, and then 8 turns into 7, and now it's like I feel like I'm getting almost in the 6s now. But honestly, would I be better off with 9 or 10? Maybe, but
I think it comes down to, are you recovering?
Yeah.
If you're recovering from your training, then it's fine. Because I've had days, I mean, we all have it, with you don't sleep for shit, but then you hit PRs the next day. Other days that everything's great. Yeah. Then you go in and it just sucks. Yeah. And I've tracked it with.
Absolutely. I've had that a lot where you get a ton of sleep. You're like, oh, it should be so fresh. And you're like so fucking weak. I don't know. Maybe your body's just too rested. Yeah. But again, I'm not advocating for little sleep. I'm just genuinely curious.
No, I've tracked it for, with a Fitbit, Apple Watch, and for a time, or a Ring as well. I was tracking all fucking 3 for years. Yeah. And first off, I don't know how well the trackers actually work.
Yeah, that's awesome that you did that. So you actually have the proof of this much sleep, and then.
Well, I remember when I went in for sleep apnea and they had to track all this shit. Oh, yeah. And they're taping shit on so it doesn't move. Yeah. So then I'm wondering, like, how much is this Fitbit really fucking doing if it's moving around? And I found zero correlation, from all that,
That was kind of what I was thinking and all this too.
And it just. It's interesting.
I know some people that they wear the Ring or whatever and stuff, and like, oh, my recovery's 40% today. I'm gonna.
Yeah, I couldn't do that because anytime with the one, it did have that, like, your state of readiness. Yeah, yeah. And it was never right.
Absolutely.
It didn't matter anyhow, because
Yeah.
if my one big heavy day's on Saturday and it says it's not a good day.
That's why I was interested in getting it, but I was like, well, fuck that, man. I am too much of a I'm a placebo. If I see that it's like I'm in the red or whatever, I'm like, oh shit, now I can't go. I would rather not know.
Yeah.
I'd rather just get in the gym, hoist some weights, move stuff around, find something I'm enthusiastic about, and just fucking crank the tunes and go for it, as opposed to being looking at my apps and stuff and be like, oh, I can't, I'm not ready.
I think the bigger variable over all that is if somebody's not getting the sleep, why are they not getting the sleep? And normally it's because there's drama that they're playing in their head over and over and over and over again.
You're right.
You know, it's worrying about the future or, you know, past, whatever it's going to be. If they just fix that, that will probably help with everything. Yeah. You know, where that's creating those issues. So instead of like dealing with those issues, they'll take 2 bottles of NyQuil, you know, just knock themselves out or whatever they need to be able to, you know, to get to sleep through that. Yeah. Instead of just having a conversation that they may not want to have or whatever they're worried about, understanding that they really shouldn't be worried about that. Yeah. And that becomes that spiral.
I feel like that mental anguish that we sometimes put ourselves through too, it's a gift and a curse though. You know what I'm saying? Like I know exactly what you're saying and I agree for the most part, but at the same time, like when I was married, I had a daughter and I was like, you know, hardly making any money. I didn't know what to do with my life. I felt so lost and all that. Dude, I had some of the best workouts of my life.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's the only thing you have control, right? You have control there. Yeah. Right? Some of these other things it's a little bit out of your control. Yeah. So you can't worry about the shit that's out of your control, but you can control that.
Control the controllable.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've heard that a lot and it does make a lot of sense. And I actually I totally agree with that. Somebody's like, oh man, like I'm just not in a good place right now. And it's like, well, it's like what you said, like a lot of that's out of your hands, you know, but there's a lot of things that are in your hands and just what can you control? Boom, take care of it. The rest of it will fall into place. And whether for good or better or for worse, I mean, I don't think there's bad situations, but a lot of times from what I find is that some of the best things that ever happened in your life have come from bad situations, you know, like, I've talked about this before, probably on my channel, but nobody would know what I'm talking about. When I was, in college, I was kind of an alcoholic to my detriment. And like, I got like 5 underage drinking tickets and disorderly conducts, like a resisting arrest and stuff like that. And it was horrible. I felt like my life was ending, but it was because of that. It really turned me around and basically made me who I am today. You know what I mean? Like cause I just want to like party and have a good time. But then it's like my wrestling, it was just shit and all that. So, but because if all this stuff didn't happen, like, you know what I mean? Having to go to like jail on spring break or whatever. Like, I probably wouldn't have taken the wrestling as serious. I probably wouldn't have been so committed to like, what can I control? Both the weight room and all that kind of stuff. And it basically, every action has a equal opposite reaction or whatever the hell. You know what I'm saying? Like,
what was the pivotal point though that created that change in your mind?
Oh, I felt like I was throwing like, I don't know. I didn't want to like get kicked off the wrestling team and like, I don't know. It was starting to get pretty like, it was getting out of my control. You know what I'm saying? I kind of realized that I had like a drinking problem and I shouldn't be drinking anymore. Like, yeah, you know, it's just once you get enough tickets and stuff, you're like, something has to change. It was the same thing like with joining WWE in the first place. The only reason I did that was because I felt like I didn't have any, like nothing was good in my life. I was just like personal training and stuff, which is great. People love it. It is great. But like, unless you own a gym, you're never going to really do really well. I guess now it's a different climate today. People can do like online coaching and stuff like that. But at the time I was like at the gym from 5 a.m. till like 9 p.m. every day. You know, I had a wife and daughter and I was like making like no money. And it's like, fucking, what am I going to do with my life? And because of that, that's when I was just like, fuck it. I'm just going to just find a way, one way or another, to try out for WWE and see what happens then. And, you know, and like the same thing with just like the YouTube channel in the first place. The only reason I did it was just because I had like my wrestling career, like college wrestling career was over and like I didn't really have anything to train for anymore. So I'm like, I'll just do stupid lifts and upload them online. Like, you know what I'm saying? So all these things that at the time, like, they all seem like a negative, but they all led to like all the positive shit in my life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas all the positive shit at the time probably didn't lead to anything.
So then if we were to project forward, right, that means more negative shit's going to happen.
Yeah.
Which is going to...
Yeah, unfortunately. But I guess that's how it's all perspective, that the negative shit's really not that negative. Oh, dude, I met my wife from being kicked out of my apartment. This is back when I had a drinking problem. I woke up in I live in an apartment, and I woke up in the landlord's closet. I don't know how I got in there. I woke up, I had no pants on. They like kicked me out with a broom. Didn't have my keys. I was just like in my underwear in an apartment building. Just like banging on people's doors so that I could sleep in a bed or whatever. And they looked at the security footage the next day, like, yeah, you got to get out of here. But because of that, I was a bouncer at the time, and the bartender, they just had someone try to break into their house with a knife or whatever. It was like a serial killer or some shit. That's what they deemed it, like an aggressive, because the lights were on and stuff, and a guy tried breaking in with a knife. But I was an idiot at the time. I'm like, well, I'll live there. I don't care if a guy's trying to break into the house with a knife. So, and that led to my happy marriage and stuff now. You know what I say? It's always...
Yeah.
Everything has an equal and opposite reaction.
Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, all good shit's good too, I suppose. But I guess it's all good is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
You can spin a negative into a positive.
Got it.
Other than injuries. But even with injuries, I will say, it sucks at the time. Like, I've had 2 knee surgeries now, but I tell people this now too. It's like, listen, it sucks. And I really feel for the people when I see or hear about people like tearing a tendon or something, because I know how hard it is to recover from. It's like a year, maybe even 2 years before you're really back to your full self. And some people might never get back to their full self. It's only if you really grind, you can get back to it. So I know how much it sucks, but once you get to the other end of it, you really like, it forces you to train outside of your normal routine. You know, to try new things, to do stuff that you wouldn't normally do if you weren't hurt in the first place. And you learn a lot about yourself, and you learn a lot about like then injury prevention or how to rehab things. And I feel like a lot of positive does come out of it.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
So with that, what things do you do now to try to prevent the injuries from the way that you train?
Well, first and foremost, I just want to point out that besides the Zercher pin squat, but my knee was already kind of banged up then. I never got hurt like training per se. The only real injury, other training I got was when I was really into, this is funny because this is when I was my technical at time, when I was like a strength coach, and I was like, I got to get really proficient at the clean and jerk and snatch and stuff. So I did like the USA weightlifting course and everything. And then I was like, what if I spend it all this time trying to get the technique? What if I widen my grip a little bit and I'd catch it? And I have terrible mobility, so it like separated my shoulder. But even that, it was like, that was one of the things that led to me doing the specializing in deadlifts, because I couldn't press. Like, everything hurt to pull. The only thing I didn't hurt to do was deadlift.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's another bad thing that led to the development of me becoming the man I am today. Right. But yeah, in terms of the other injuries, like I just take so much time to, like, I'll be in the gym for 2 hours and everything might revolve around like one lift, but like, it doesn't mean I'm only doing one lift. You know what I mean? Like I'll like do like a Bulgarian split squat, stretch it up, do a lot of warm up stuff, get my calves stretched out. Because I find that like when I work my calves before I squat and everything, my knees feel better. All these kinds of little things, just little things, you know. Whereas before I would have just gotten in, grabbed the barbell, let's get to the horse-cocking.
Yeah.
Okay, as I get older and more experienced, like let's spend a lot of extensive time is like just leading. Again, there's a Christmas tree, just leading to the star at the top.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense, because on the other side of that, you can get away with not doing it.
Yeah.
You know, as you get more banged up and older, you have to do more of that, which plays into that, where it's another one of them weird things to where, do you tell the younger ones coming up, you need to do this fucking dynamic warm up for 45 minutes, or just go in and lift heavy shit, where I fall in the camp of just going and lift heavy shit. So you need to actually do those things to be able to do that. Because is it preventative? Is it not? I don't fucking know. I don't think nobody has an answer to that.
I don't think they do. And I think, and I will say this too, that this is all from experience, man. Like, I worked at this strength and conditioning facility, and I was in charge of this private high school's weight room as part of it. And the person before me was about one of this real like elitist training, like, okay, foam rolling, dynamic warm-ups, all this kind of like structure to it. And I was young and dumb, and I knew what worked for me or whatever, and I knew what worked for others. So like I got it. And when I took this program over, and this is, I'm pretty sure all the coaches hated it, but I kind of just, I was like, hey, let's foam roll for a few minutes, whatever, do just a very quick dynamic, but we're just fucking getting after it.
Yeah.
And the kids got so much stronger because they weren't throwing away over half their gym time doing a warm-up, you know? Whereas, but it's funny because it's like what we're talking about as you get older. It's like, yeah, that stuff probably will be more into play, more needed.
Yes. Well,
but
with
when
that,
you're 16, dude.
Well, sometimes I've seen with the demographic that you're talking about in those training centers and stuff like that, sometimes the warm-up's like 30, 45 minutes, and they are gassed afterwards. And in my brain, I'm like, that wasn't a warm-up. You actually just trained them.
Yeah.
I mean, they're all sweating their ass off.
Yeah.
Gas.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, sweaty. Yeah.
It wasn't a warm up, man. This was an actual training.
Yeah.
And then what happens after that's like 10 minutes.
For sure. Yeah, it's hilarious. Yes, it's exactly what it is.
So they're in here to get stronger. Right?
Yeah.
And you spend 10 minutes in a fatigue state for them to get stronger, but you did 45 minutes of A skips, B skips.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
And all this other kind of shit. You know,
clam shells and
where
piriformis stretch.
Isn't their coach having them do that?
Yeah.
You know, on the field?
Yeah.
Isn't that part of what they do? I never understood that.
Yeah.
Like they're here to get strong. You know, get them warmed up as fast as you can.
Yes.
Get them fucking strong.
Yeah.
But then if you want to do that other shit afterwards, whatever.
Or do it beforehand.
Yeah.
Show up early and do it beforehand.
It confused the shit out of me too, because with a lot of sports, the kids aren't good because they don't know the skills of the sport.
Yeah.
So why not, if you're going to do that, why not do the skills of the sport? Say if it's a wrestler, why not have them do fucking drop steps instead of A skips, B skips, C skips?
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like you can put in 100
running the ball. Yeah.
Yeah, you put in fucking 100, 400 extra drop steps per week.
Yeah.
Probably going to make them a better
really
wrestler.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah. You want to make them a better athlete. Though.
Yeah.
A skips, B skips.
It's still fucking dynamic, right? Or you have the football player that doesn't even know his place.
Yeah.
Like maybe, having him go through his fucking playbook.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, a pulling guard actually pulling.
Yeah.
I didn't. It's so fucking confusing to me. Like they're there to be better athletes.
Yeah.
But you're not speaking to the coach to figure out where they suck.
Yeah.
Like maybe they're just not aggressive.
Yeah. So, I was like, I was new and I was young and I wanted to learn at the same time. I was like, this is not right.
Well, that was a weird time too, because what was it, SAQ, or what it was like at its peak.
Yeah.
As far as like the cones and parachutes.
Yeah.
And all this other kind
of sprinting technique and stuff like that too. It's like, what do we?
Yeah.
Why are we going over the technical aspect of sprint? Like, I mean, and I get if you're a sprinter and stuff, absolutely.
Well, I get it for like a 40 if they're going to go to the combine.
For sure, yeah.
But how many of these kids are going to go to the fucking combine?
Yeah.
2%?
Yeah. Well, I'm just thinking because I was wrestling. I don't need any of that. None of that shit would help me at all, I'd be really good at A skips and sprinting mechanics.
It'd be the opposite of what you'd want to reinforce, right?
Yeah.
Like, hey, let's just pull your chest up really fucking high.
Exactly, yeah.
Let's teach you to do that, right? Which maybe getting out of an escape.
Absolutely. It's true. Yeah, for wrestling, you want to get strong in like the worst position.
Yeah,
right? Like just rounded back. Like this is a great position, right?
Yeah, a zercher.
Yeah, exactly. A sandbag work or something. It's a trend. That was the trend.
Yes.
Now I don't know. I haven't been in like a facility in a long time now, so I don't know what they're doing now.
I don't know either.
It's the same shit, or it's the...
Well, I try to pay attention to so many different genres to kind of know what's going on.
Yeah.
And that's one that it's hard to follow.
Yeah.
Because a lot of what's going on there isn't being put online because those coaches are actually coaching.
Yeah.
Which is a little bit different than online coaches trying to build a brand and so forth.
Yeah.
I don't know how virtual a lot of that stuff can really be.
Yeah.
When you're coaching that, like trying to coach a wrestler's technique online, I don't know how well that's really going to go.
Yeah.
Where the other stuff, makes sense. You know, the hypertrophy shit, all
For
that
sure,
stuff makes sense.
Yeah.
Because you can see it and kind of replicate it the way we go through magazines. Like, look at that movement, you know, and kind of replicate that movement. Where I don't think with the speed and strength and conditioning stuff, it applies that much. Even though it's a huge demographic. Yeah. You know, so it's weird.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like with a lot of the times I feel like the people that are going online, so like they're looking up like the lifting stuff, but the majority of I feel like the lifting bubble, like what's popular, YouTube and all that for lifting, it's like hypertrophy. But the majority of the people in the weight room, I think, are more for athletics, like in high school and stuff. You'd think like the majority of the kids are in a sport. I would say the majority. When you think football, baseball, wrestling, all that kind of stuff.
Yes. And I
feel like there's a disconnect.
Yeah, there's a disconnect. And I'd have to, now I'm curious because I want to go search YouTube to be able to see what's out there for the sport coaching. You know, and there are some, like Dane Miller puts out decent stuff. Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot. That. So there's some.
All I know, it's like what's on my recommended page all the time.
Yes.
So it's just like.
Exactly. Yeah. So there is a question. So what is on your recommended page?
Just I guess the most popular like fitness stuff, like eating challenges or whatever. You know, that kind of shit. Like a lot of it's like the exercise science stuff too. Yeah. Length of partials. You know what I mean? Just like, which is like, I don't know. It's I only know what I know from what I see, like, or what my perspective, and that's the whole thing with this is hilarious too, because like I know I saw you had like Paul Carter on like not too long ago or whatever, and so there's like the whole Jeff Nipper thing of the lengthened partials are superior, but then he had his whole like study that showed that the lengthened partials weren't any better than the full range of motion, and then there's Paul Carter or like Jeff was talking about like overhead triceps because of the stretch of the long head, and then Paul Carter's like, actually these studies show that this doesn't do any different than this. Like, brother, what the fuck, dude? Like, everyone's just getting so confused, you know, because and at the end of the day, it's like the studies, it's like the majority of the studies I looked at in my time back in the day when I was like really the studies, it was always about like supplements and food, and it just always went both ways.
Well, I think it's all in the margins.
HMB or something like this is better than steroids, and there's another study like no, it does jack shit.
I think all that I think all that shit is in the margins, you know, and the base. You know, the horse-cocking, lifting, big weight. I don't think anybody disagrees with all that. But to make videos on that isn't really popular.
For sure.
You know, so they're not going to catch because, you know, the length and partials, I kind of get that. Or it could be drop sets a year from now. Or it could be any of those mobility, triple drop sets or pre-exhaust, you know, who the fuck knows, you know, what's going to come next, but there's always that rotation.
As long as it has like a title, it's holy shit, that's it.
Yes.
Mike Menser, high intensity. It's like, oh, that's it.
Well, the ones that I get a kick out of are the ranking the best movements.
Oh,
right. But at no point do they talk about the intensity of the movement. Like, take the shitty movement and do it really hard and do the great movement.
Yeah, you can take the F-list exercise, and if you like, do it really hard, you'll probably see more of it than the greatest movement. Yeah, it's just. Yeah, it's all in the minutia or whatever. Yeah, so but you're right. It's hard to market that. It's easy to market this or this. It's hard, the extreme of the spectrum, but somewhere in the middle, it's like, you can't sell that.
Yeah, you know, because everybody knows it.
Yeah,
you know, but I don't know if the people that are following everything know it.
I don't think they do, man. No. God, I'm just going off of the only reason my opinions are formed so strongly for the most part, and I think everyone agrees, it's the comment sections because people are just like aggressive there. You know what I'm saying? Like they'll fucking die on the sword that these lengthened partials are the secret. You know? And you can tell that they've just never done anything else. Like, well, this has to be right.
One of the videos that you made that's probably one of my favorite ones was when you were talking about that, and then I think it was, you look at Branch Warren or something stuff, you know, they're just horse cocking all these fucking weights, right? And you're like, look, you know, this is lengthened, you know, partials.
They're doing lengthened
They're fucking doing lengthened partials, right? They're not locking the shit out, right? Which, you know, that was a big knock for a long time is they don't lock the shit out. But they're doing the lengthened partials. Here, like a cheek curl. Is a heavy loaded lengthened partial.
all like the bro lifting that people consider like a couple of years ago now is like the optimal science lifting now. Because everything was, you know, just pumping it. And I was like, oh, that's optimal.
Yeah,
Whereas
that's
before I
like
was like, oh my God, you'll never see any growth and gains from that.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the people doing it are jacked.
Yeah. The most jacked people in the world.
Yeah, you'll never see it. Any other topics? Because you said anything, and did anything pop into your head?
Oh, geez, Louise. I don't know if we talked about this on the video. I always love machines. I love a good machine, but I've kind of found, because from going to Power Station, yeah, this is what you asked me this last time when I was here. You said, what do I do when I travel a lot? And I was like, oh man, I kind of train like a daffodil, kind of see a new machine. I want to use it because it's all fun stuff. I want to feel this new thing. But I was like, I think that was to my detriment because I wasn't ending up doing like the freaking meat and potato lifts, the stuff that really the gains are at, like the barbell movements or even just dumbbells and that kind of stuff. But I'd be like, well, I haven't seen this machine before. Let me just, this is a cool machine. So I went to this Power Station. They had tons of machines, stuff I've never seen before, very old school stuff. And I was tempted. I was like, no, I've learned my lesson. You know what I mean? But they were cool. That was a great gym because they had a bunch of specialty bars. So my thing now, it's like, if I'm going to travel, I'm going to find gyms that have specialty bars because then you're doing the meat and potatoes, effective stuff, but you're just doing it like, for instance, this gym had like a really big cambered bench bar. It had one of these sliding bars, the spring bar or whatever. So I just did stuff like that. And that leads me to, my point is, because I think I was very disappointed in myself. You're like, what do you think led to you getting injured? Or when I blew my knee out or whatever. I was on the road. I was training a lot at these gyms. I was doing all these machine stuff. You know what I mean? I'd be willing to bet if I was doing, horse cockery with the barbells and all that, maybe I wouldn't have. Maybe I would have. Who knows? My point is, this spring bar. What do you think of that?
I'm not a fan.
Not a fan. Yeah.
Right.
I feel like I was going to snap my shoulder when I was using it, but to me, it was like, is this a weakness?
Well, Louis originally, I think he created it, but then found out somebody else had created it beforehand. And the reason for it was to teach lifters to pull out. Okay. To activate. Gotcha. So it was more about the springs on the outside to be able to pull out. The springs on the inside were just for whatever. Oh, okay. So it was more a way to teach technique. Gotcha. Where I think I have a couple of them in here. If I have a lifter that really doesn't understand trying to spread the bar, I'll have them do a couple sets with that. Okay. But the only thing I really found it effective for was, say, at the end of a chest day, throwing it in the bench, sitting on the bench, and then just grabbing it and just pushing in. Oh, when you're like locked out, like as a finisher. Yeah. So basically just to put more blood in the muscle to pump it up. Yeah. Not even pressing with it, just fucking squeezing the damn thing in. Yeah. That was really it. You know, because it's funky, and some of the newer ones, the springs suck. Yeah. So it's not even like an even type of thing. Oh God. Yeah. So it was a novelty item, and I think when somebody tried to bring it back a few years ago, and it caught a little bit of excitement or whatever, but it didn't last. Where the order. Like I said, I'm not a fucking fan. I was never a fan when we had the thing. Yeah. It didn't get used a lot. It's rare that I'll pull it out. And for instance, there's really light tsunami bars too. Yeah. I mean, really, really light. Yeah. And I'll use those sometimes for somebody that just can't get tight, just to take the bar out in the bench position. Then I'll beat on it. Oh, okay. Right. As soon as you beat on it, they have to tighten up. Yeah. Right. So it's a novelty thing. Yeah. Just for a mind muscle connection or whatever it's going to be. Yeah. That's really about it.
I feel like there's an injury waiting to happen for sure.
Oh, it can be.
Oh shit! Like under, you know what I mean? Like I didn't even go. I went up to 2 plates with it. I was like, oh my God, I'm like gonna separate my shoulder or something.
Yeah. I mean, the ones I've known that have used it takes a while to get acclimated. Yeah. Before they come, even like with when people are hanging the fuck ton of weight on bamboo bars and stuff like that. So, and maybe they have 400 pounds total. They didn't start with that. Yeah. It took a while to be able to get up to that whole thing. That's a great point. With that, because it will throw you around for a while. Yeah. But then after that, what gains can be derived.
I gotcha. So there is some benefit. Just not much.
Probably not much. Yeah. And very, very limited benefit for specific use. Yeah. That would be about it. Now, I'm sure if you had one you would find some horsecock.
Well, that's why I ask. I'm like,
but I'm not. you know,
I'm like, do I need another barbell
Yeah.
for the collection?
yeah, that one I would probably say no,
Ah, damn.
because I don't know how you could horsecock anything.
You
really
couldn't. You
big.
certainly couldn't. Yeah.
Unless you were strong enough to be able to push it all the way in
Yeah.
and keep it in
Oh,
for that whole rep, you know, then that would become a whole different movement right there.
Yeah. Okay. No application.
Yeah, but you're going to need a lot less weight,
I know.
you know, to be able to do that.
Yeah. It was like shades of like the first time pressing with like some wobble. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Holy shit. Look, I can't tell if it's going to make me Hercules or just injured.
Yeah,
You know?
probably neither. Yeah, yeah. We really get to the brass tacks of that.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts that you have?
Oh my gosh. Final thoughts. I don't know. I'm always thinking, you know what I mean? My brain's going a million miles per hour. Thinking about, do you have time to do
Yeah.
arm pump?
Yeah,
Hell yeah.
yeah. So we get a little bit of food and
Beautiful.
arms. All right.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, that's what I figured. So how can people find you? Best way to find you?
Okay, here's the deal. You know, all these platforms are changing. You know what I mean? Like, I used to just love horsecocking weights on YouTube. People don't care about that anymore. Now you got to do this. YouTube introduced these YouTube shorts now, trying to be like TikTok, and it just killed. Like, so now it's like, damn, I got to make these like super long videos. So I'll be talking about people like El Campeon and all that. You can find me there on YouTube, Eric Bugenhagen. If you want to see the real horsecockery, though, that's on my Instagram, because that's where it thrives. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's got an attention span, 4 seconds, boom. You know. So I'm a co-owner of Psycho Pharma, like I was talking about. Good freaking Yohimbe, through the roof, adrenaline. I'm telling you, it's not like caffeine. Thick as frick. And my logo is a horsecock, because that's what it's all about, brother. It's all about, yeah, you want to get thick as frick, you got to horsecock some serious weights. So thickasfrick.com.
All right, that works. It's great to have you out again. We're done.
All right, what a pleasure. My goodness.
All content you see on this channel and at elitefts.com is created by, take a guess, Elite FTS. If you want to help support the content, head over to elitefts.com and pick up literally anything that you need to be able to get more jacked and strong.